Jia Benfu charged forward with unwavering confidence. "This time, I'll finish you off in one strike," he declared. Xiao Tian remained motionless, allowing the sword to swipe across his neck. With a resounding clang, purple lightning erupted, resembling a strange god of death reaping lives. After sheathing his sword, Jia Benfu smirked and said, "In your next life, remember not to overestimate yourself or recklessly intrude into someone else's palace-like spiritual tool." Suddenly, with a sharp crack, Xiahou Benfu's sword shattered, its pieces scattering across the floor. He stood there bewildered. What just happened? Where's my magnificent sword, the one that gleamed with lightning? Turning his head, he caught sight of Xiao Tian, completely unharmed. His neck was flawless, showing no signs of injury. Xiao Benfu was stunned. "Why? I clearly hit him." Just then, Long Zhoudao let out a sigh. "This kid is about to lose hope." Xiao Tian frowned, his frustration evident. "Did you see that? He tried to kill me right away. He clearly has malicious intent." Long Zhoudao nodded in agreement. Indeed, these individuals are truly malicious. Upon hearing this, Xiao Benfu felt utterly defeated and sank weakly to the ground. "My most powerful move was utterly useless. Bai Qing, have you lost your mind? Why would you need support with such a monster by your side?" Xiao Tian approached Xiao Benfu, looking down at him with a condescending smirk. "Your true colors are finally exposed. You can't deny it now, can you?" Xiao Benfu's expression twisted with bitterness. "What can I even say?" Xiao Tian, refusing to waste another moment, clenched his fist and declared, "Some people just need a good smack." With a swift motion, he delivered a powerful slap, sending Xiao Benfu flying. He landed with a heavy thud not far away. Pointing at him, Xiao Tian turned to Long Zhoudao. "Can you believe this guy? He actually dared to question me." Long Zhoudao nodded in agreement. Xiao Tian approached Xiao Benfu once more, his voice steady. "It seems you still don't grasp the seriousness of your situation. Speak." Frustrated, Xiao Benfu shouted back, "What do you want me to say?" Xiao Tian was infuriated. "How shameless can you be? I'm the victim here, and I haven't even lost my temper, yet you dare to get angry at me." With that, he unleashed a flurry of punches on Xiao Benfu, leaving him questioning his life choices. Ultimately, Benfu crumpled to the ground, his spirit crushed and his soul soaring in agony. "You better confess now," Xiao Tian warned. "Honesty will earn you leniency. Resistance will only make things worse. The sooner you start talking, the sooner you'll be free," Xiao Tian warned. Xiao Benfu, cradling his swollen face, looked utterly defeated. "Well then, ask me. What do you want to know?" Xiao Tian raised his hand as if to strike again, causing Xiao Benfu to flinch. In a rush, he began to speak. "Big brother, behind me is Elder Zhang from the United Alliance of 100 Tribes." Xiao Tian paused, gauging the reaction of his companion. Xiao Benfu looked slightly taken aback, but quickly masked his surprise with a facade of obedience. "Is he inquiring about the power backing the Jia family? That makes sense. He's on good terms with Bai Qing. He must be curious about why the Jia family is stirring up trouble for her. If he had asked me sooner, I would have told him. Did it really take so many beatings to get to this point?" With these thoughts swirling in his mind, Xiao Benfu pressed on. Elder Zhang had harbored resentment toward Leader Su for years, and in his bitterness, he sabotaged the front lines of the war. All the plans came from him. Our Jia family was merely following his orders. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Tian abruptly slapped Xiao Benfu once more. Stunned, Xiao Benfu could only blink in disbelief, while Xiao Tian regarded him with a look of disdain. "You still don't get it. Keep thinking," he urged. After a moment of contemplation, Xiao Benfu fished a scroll from his pocket. "Here's the defensive line map of the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range," he said, unfurling it with a sense of urgency. Xiao Tian glanced at the map for a moment before smacking Xiao Benfu on the forehead with the scroll. "What's wrong with you? What use do I have for this? Keep thinking." Xiao Benfu, on the brink of a breakdown, frantically bowed his head. "Please, calm down." Long Zhoudao observed the scene unfold with a cold detachment. "Why bother? You flaunted your prowess in the holy demon domain, and now look where it has led you." Moments later, he turned to Xiao Tian. "Sir, we are nearing the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range." Outside the flying boat, a vast expanse of mountains loomed, encircled by countless smaller lands, each shimmering with the glow of magical rays. Long Zhoudao gazed out the window at the defense formation below. It was a masterful arrangement, constructed from fragments of the world and encircled by island-shaped war fortresses. The dual-layered defensive line was impressive, yet Xiao Tian's dismissive snort interrupted his thoughts. "It's a shame," he remarked, "that all these resources are just sitting idle while the front lines are left wanting." Pointing at Xiao Benfu, he added. The next second, Xiao Benfu suddenly slapped himself. You're right. It's utterly shameless. Xiao Tian felt a chill run down his spine, gasping at the unexpected display. No wonder you know nothing. Your brain isn't functioning. Have you ever seen someone slap themselves? Long Chu Dao leaned in, his eyes wide with wonder. This is the first time I've seen something like this. It's truly eye-opening. Meanwhile, Xiao Benfu remained unfazed, continuing to slap himself relentlessly. Internally, he reveled in his own cleverness. As long as I keep slapping myself faster, he won't stand a chance. Ha ha ha. At last, he seemed to have lost his sanity, kneeling on the ground and laughing maniacally at the sky. Xiao Tian was bewildered. What on earth is happening? Long Chu Dao looked uneasy. Did you break him? Xiao Tian quickly waved his hand in protest. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. As they both gazed at the still giggling Xiao Benfu, Long Chu Dao let out a resigned sigh. What a pity. How can we use him if he's gone insane? He leaned in close to Xiao Tian's ear. Sir Xiao, what should we do next? Xiao Tian cast a glance at the foolish Xiao Benfu. Don't worry, we can still make use of him, he replied, a hint of disdain in his voice. But honestly, his expression is revolting. To call him a dog would be an insult to dogs. Let's delve into the enigmatic Wealth Mountain Range and discreetly investigate the so-called Jia family territory. Who knows what secrets we might uncover? What do you think? Xiao Tian smiled confidently, pleased with his own cleverness. Long Chu Dao quickly grasped the implication. Are you suggesting we take on this task, Lord Xiao? Are you suggesting that there could be an enemy martial spirit army, possibly made up of the Blood Rune clan and the Blood Grudge clan? Xiao Tian shrugged. Yes, I can't dismiss that possibility. If the martial spirit army isn't involved, their internal conflicts wouldn't jeopardize the front lines to this extent. If the front lines fall, how can we expect to secure the rear? Upon hearing this, Jia Benfu involuntarily twitched. Long Chu Dao immediately took note. What had started as a mere guess was now confirmed by Jia Benfu's unmistakable micro-expression. At the mention of the martial spirit army, he was practically giving himself away. Quickly, Long Chu Dao turned to Xiao Tian and said, Sir, the Jia family definitely has a problem. Xiao Tian glanced over, only to find that Jia Benfu had reverted to his oblivious demeanor. Xiao Tian continued to analyze the situation. This was all speculation for now. Jia Benfu's micro-expression had lasted only about a second, which wasn't enough to definitively prove that the Jia family was involved in anything sinister. Further investigation was necessary. Remember, he instructed, we won't let any enemy slip away, but we also won't wrong any innocent person. Follow my lead. Upon hearing this, Long Chu Dao fixed a penetrating gaze on Xiao Tian. What was truly terrifying about Sir Xiao was his irrefutable logic. Slowly, Long Chu Dao approached Jia Benfu and placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Young man, take a good look at this mysterious Wealth Mountain Range for the last time. At this, Jia Benfu looked up, confusion etched on his face. What do you mean? Long Chu Dao sighed heavily. Soon, your hometown, the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range, will become nothing but a memory. Just like the previous pioneer battle city, it will fade into the past. Jia Benfu stared at him, utterly bewildered. What are you talking about? What does become a thing of the past mean? At that moment, under Jia Benfu's guidance, the group had arrived at the enigmatic Wealth Mountain Range. Gazing at the watchtower beyond the world barrier, Xiao Tian turned to Long Chu Dao with curiosity. What is this? Long Chu Dao replied. This is the entrance to the domain world, commonly known as a border checkpoint. The structure was built on the world barrier's weak points, serving primarily to screen and verify the identities of those entering and exiting the domain world. Its purpose was to keep out anyone with malicious intentions. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian felt a wave of confusion. Why doesn't our holy demon domain have a checkpoint like this? Long Chu Dao regarded him thoughtfully, his gaze piercing. The holy demon domain does possess them. However, you, sir, seem to treat the world barrier as if it doesn't exist. You come and go at will, never bothering with any checkpoints. Jia Benfu, who stood nearby, widened his eyes in disbelief. Holy cow, is this even human? Treating world barriers like they're mere suggestions, coming and going as you please? Where did this guy come from? Xiao Tian mused, shaking his head in disbelief. That doesn't make sense. Long Chu Dao, with a hint of exasperation, raised two fingers and clarified. It's because, sir, you expanded the Holy Demon Domain slightly to merge it with the Great Flame Dynasty. This expansion created several weak points which the Blood Rune clan exploited. In that moment, Sha Tian experienced a sudden realization. He glanced around and remarked, "Well, this mysterious Wealth Mountain range is quite lively." Long Chu Dao joined him in observing the airships soaring by. It became clear to them that the Wealth Mountain range was a vital hub along the void routes, explaining the flurry of flying spiritual tools passing through. "This is a key defense line," the commander explained. "If the meteor flame battlefield is breached, this will become the new front line." Xiao Tian furrowed his brow, confusion etched on his face. "What do you mean by crucial point? Can't they just take a detour? If they start from a distance, isn't everything around them empty? Why not simply go around?" Ya Benfu couldn't help but chuckle. Even a child would know such basic knowledge. How could this incredibly powerful individual be so unaware? Long Chu Dao explained with utmost seriousness. "The turbulent flows in the void can vary in strength. When they're strong, they can easily tear apart someone like you. But when they're weak, even a level 10 individual could withstand them with ease. The turbulent flows within the void routes are surprisingly mild, even providing a boost for flying spiritual tools. Over time, everyone began to utilize these paths. However, from my observations, the intensity of the turbulent flows surrounding the mysterious Wealth Mountain range is truly terrifying. They could easily shred a level 20 strongman to pieces." Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian cast another glance at Jia Benfu. Jia Benfu quickly nodded in affirmation, stating, "Sir, everything this old gentleman has said is absolutely true. Furthermore, to the north of the mysterious Wealth Mountain range lies a void thunder pool, teeming with devastating void thunders. No one can survive that death trap." As the mention of the void thunders echoed in his mind, Xiao Tian suddenly recalled something significant. "Is that thunder black, with a hint of white light? Does it resemble a sea where thunderbolts intertwine?" Jia Benfu asked, his surprise evident. "Yes, have you seen it?" Xiao Tian didn't respond directly. Instead, he turned to Long Chu Dao. "That's strange. When I was traveling from the southern wilderness realm to the holy demon domain, I distinctly remember guiding all of you through this void thunder pool. Does that mean the southern wilderness realm is also part of the mysterious Wealth Mountain range?" Long Chu Dao continued to explain. "Indeed, you guided us through the void thunder pool, sir. The southern wilderness realm lies close to the Wealth Mountain range." Upon hearing this, Jia Benfu instinctively swallowed hard. He couldn't comprehend why he had brought such a formidable individual from Bai Qing's side. "I am a sinner to my family," Xiao Tian lamented, feeling the weight of his ancestors' disappointment. "Father, grandfather, I have failed you." As he arrived at the mysterious Wealth Mountain range checkpoint aboard Jia Benfu's airship, he turned to Jia Benfu with a question. "Do we need to undergo an interrogation to enter the checkpoint?" Jia Benfu flashed a confident grin. "With me here, you can be anyone you want." Xiao Tian smirked, seizing the opportunity. "All right then, from now on, I'm your adoptive grandfather. You're the obedient grandson." "Understood." Without a moment's hesitation, Jia Benfu knelt on the ground and exclaimed, "Grandfather, I understand." Xiao Tian paused, then added, "He can be your adoptive father." Jia Benfu was left speechless, completely taken aback by the unexpected turn of events. Long Qiao Dao shook his head internally, thinking, "Sir, Xiao can be quite childish at times." Just then, Xiao Tian pulled a pill from his storage ring and handed it to Jia Benfu. "Here, eat this," he said. Without a moment's hesitation, Jia Benfu accepted the pill and swallowed it. Both Xiao Tian and Long Qiao Dao exchanged bewildered glances, completely taken aback. Has Jia Benfu completely lost his wits? He doesn't even suspect it could be poison. Just then a commotion erupted at the checkpoint. One of the travelers shouted, "Why is the toll so high?" The guard shot back, "If you think it's too expensive, feel free to mortgage your wife and your airship to get through." Hearing this, Long Qiao Dao turned to Jia Benfu and asked, "So, how much is the toll to pass this checkpoint?" Jia Benfu hesitated for a moment. 30%, he finally replied. Long Qiao Dao, sensing the vagueness in his answer, raised his voice. "What do you mean by 30%? Startled, Jia Benfu quickly clarified. "The toll is 30% of the wealth the traveler possesses. The magical formations can detect what you have stored, including the value of your flying spiritual tools. Of course, powerful individuals and those with strong backgrounds are exceptions." Jia Benfu spoke with a smile, but Long Qiao Dao's anger was palpable. This was nothing short of extortion taking advantage of the vulnerable. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian merely chuckled. "When your power is great enough, you can act according to your whims. Yet, without a moral compass, it's all too easy to lose your way. Such things can be quite fascinating. If you're strong enough, even reckless actions or a little chaos can be overlooked. In fact, even a fart might earn you compliments, with others saying, "Wow, that smells delightful." Watching Xiao Tian perform so convincingly, Jia Benfu quickly chimed in, "Grandfather, you're absolutely right." In the blink of an eye, Xiao Tian delivered a sharp slap across Jia Benfu's face. Jia Benfu winced, clutching his swelling cheek, yet he remained eerily composed, betraying no hint of anger. "Grandfather, that was a magnificent slap," he remarked, a strange satisfaction in his voice. "Don't worry, I'll have the guard escort us through right now." Xiao Tian fixed him with a serious gaze, as if to emphasize the gravity of the moment. "Not only that, but you should also release everyone on that airship." "Absolutely, as you say," Jia Benfu agreed eagerly. With a smirk, Shahian tossed another pill at him. Jia Benfu opened his mouth to catch it, resembling an eager sycophant. Without hesitation, he leapt off the deck and sprinted toward the checkpoint guards. Long Zhoudao, watching the scene unfold, looked visibly frustrated. When the upper beam is crooked, the lower ones will inevitably follow suit. The Jia family truly disgusts me. Xiao Tian pondered deeply, realizing that the issue wasn't just the Jia family, it was the world itself. With that thought, he gazed into the distance. But there's no point in dwelling on it. What matters now is that the Jia family is exploiting my kindness for their own gain. They orchestrated this entire scheme to manipulate me, forcing Jia Benfu to feign interest in my words, all to ensnare me in their trap. The Jia family is truly cunning and perilous. They cannot be trusted. Long Zhoudao remained silent, though he could sense Master Zhao's growing bias. Yet, the essence of his concerns was valid. Upon reaching the checkpoint of the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range, they witnessed guards harassing a traveler. In that moment, Xiao Tian had Jia Benfu step in to intervene. As Xiao Tian surveyed the unfortunate traveler, a grim thought crossed his mind. If you can't pay the toll, you face the consequences. Not only could you be beaten, but your spouse might even be taken as a slave to settle the debt. It was a disgraceful state of affairs. Clearly, the once mighty Wealth Mountain range had decayed from within. Jia Benfu rushed to help the battered man to his feet, his voice rising in anger as he confronted those who had oppressed him. "What are you still doing here? Get out now." The disheveled guards scrambled out of their airship, abandoning a group of tearful women. Long Zhoudao seethed with anger. "Sir Xiao, you were right. The Jia family must be eradicated." Moments later, Jia Benfu returned to the airship to report to Xia Tian. "Grandfather, the toll for this family has been waived. They will no longer be enslaved to pay it," Xiao Tian declared, his voice steady. He glanced at the trembling relatives who had narrowly escaped capture and waved his hand with determination. "Well done. Now, let's move forward." As he spoke, Xiao Chen clenched his fists, anticipation coursing through him. "I can't wait to witness the might of the Jia family in the mysterious Wealth Mountain range." Noticing Jia Benfu's flustered expression, Xiao Tian placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "Don't be afraid," he said with a calm smile. "I'm a very reasonable person. That little hit earlier? Just a test to gauge your worth." He chuckled lightly, adding, "You know what they say. There's a special bond between grandfathers and grandchildren. The one a grandfather cherishes most is his grandchild." As he spoke, he gently patted Jia Benfu's cheek, his tone both playful and warm. Jia Benfu felt a surge of emotion. Yes, the one his grandfather cherished most was his obedient grandson, someone like him. He quickly registered the information for Xiao Tian and Wang Chudao. "This man is my grandfather, and the one beside him is my father." The guard stared at him in confusion. "Young master, are you joking?" Jia Benfu swiftly struck the guard across the face. "Do you dare question my choice of who I call my grandfather? If it weren't for him saving my life, I would be dead." His fury was palpable. "What kind of look is that? You know nothing." With that, he unleashed a barrage of slaps, leaving the guard's face swollen and bruised, resembling a pig's head. Once he finished, Jia Benfu rubbed his wrist and asked, "Have you noted down the information I provided? Can we proceed now?" The guard quickly bowed and nodded. "Yes, young master, you may proceed." Jia Benfu's impatience flared. "What are you waiting for? Get it done." The guard rushed to the magical formation at the checkpoint and activated it. As the formation illuminated, he gestured toward the young master. "You may now proceed." The massive airship glided through the formation, and in an instant, the scenery transformed. Xiao Tian stood at the front of the ship, gazing out at the vast continent before him. Why do I sense that the spiritual energy here is weaker than in the holy demon domain? Lang Chao Dao mused, stroking his beard thoughtfully. Sir Xiao, the holy demon domain has become quite unique since your arrival, he added, glancing at Xiao Tian. Curiosity sparked in Xiao Tian's eyes. Isn't the mysterious Wealth Mountain range special in its own right? Long Chao Dao paused for a moment, considering his response. It's not the same, Sir Xiao, she said, her voice steady yet urgent. You gathered countless world fragments from the void and carelessly integrated them into the holy demon domain. As a result, not only has the size of the holy demon domain expanded, but it has also absorbed the fates contained within those fragments. This means the spiritual energy here is far denser than in any other domain at this moment. Long Chao Dao let out a sigh, acknowledging the remarkable feat. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian had already ventured into the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range. Below, the main city radiated opulence. Xiao Benfu gestured toward the grandest mansion, a grin spreading across his face. That's the residence of our Xiao family's core members. It's the very heart of the Wealth Mountain range, known as Mysterious Wealth Mountain City. In addition to this, we have 5 other major cities scattered in various directions. If you're interested, grandfather, I can take you to see them. Xiao Tian, closing one eye, gestures thoughtfully with one hand, pondering how to dismantle this troublesome city. Should he approach it like this, or perhaps like that? Long Chao Dao, eager and curious, asks, Sir Xiao, what shall we do next? His excitement grows as he realizes they are at the heart of the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range. I'm sure Sir Xiao will make a significant move here, one of them remarked, excitement bubbling in the air. But Xiao Tian dismissed the notion with a wave of his hand. No rush, we must be steady and cautious in our actions. Then, with a sudden thought, he turned to Xiahou Benfu. Is there a place in Mysterious Wealth Mountain City where we can stay? Xiao Benfu's face lit up with a smile. Of course, grandfather, I have several properties in the city. What kind of place would you like to stay in? A quiet environment with a comfortable bed, Xiao Benfu replied, rubbing his hands together with excitement. Certainly, grandfather. Just wait a moment, and I'll take you there right away. With that, their airship soared gracefully over the city, drawing the astonished gazes of the citizens below. Suddenly, Xiao Tian's curiosity was piqued as he looked intently in a particular direction. What is that? Long Chao Dao muses as he spots an elegantly dressed woman strolling down the street. Noticing the sudden change in Xiao Tian's expression, he quickly inquires, Sir Xiao, what's wrong? Did you see something? Xiao Tian shakes his head, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. It's nothing. I just saw a woman who resembles my main wife. Long Chao Dao furrows his brow, clearly puzzled. Main wife, you mean Her Majesty Z? Xiao Tian nods in confirmation. Long Chao Dao raises an eyebrow, intrigued. This is the first time I've heard you refer to Her Majesty Z in that way. Why the different titles in public and private? Xiao Tian glances at him knowingly. You must be single, right? Long Chao Dao blinks, caught off guard. Yes, I've never been married. Hearing this, Xiao Tian lets out a sigh, followed by a chuckle. No wonder you don't get it. Women, especially an empress, can be a bit tsundere. Calling her wife directly would only make her shy, but referring to her as Your Majesty? That's just a charming little quirk between couples. Long Chao Dao is left utterly bewildered. How are these things even connected? Xiao Tian can only offer a reassuring pat on Long Chao Dao's shoulder. You really are an old bachelor, he remarks. Long Chao Dao, utterly bewildered, stares at Xiao Tian, who seems to have more on his mind but chooses to remain silent. He wants to retort, but the truth weighs heavily on him, leaving him speechless. At that moment, atop Mysterious Wealth Mountain, Xiao Tian stands on a balcony, gazing out over the sprawling city below. He mutters to himself, this view is truly something special. Upon closer inspection, the scenery of the Mysterious Wealth Mountain range is truly breathtaking. It would be a shame to see it destroyed. Xiao Benfu is taken aback. What do you mean, cut it down? Are you really going to destroy the Mysterious Wealth Mountain range? That's unimaginable. How could anyone dare to obliterate such a vast and magnificent world? Xiao Tian turns to him, a smile gracing his lips. You've managed this situation quite well, and I'm pleased. However, this does not absolve the Jia family of their sins. Still, I'm willing to offer your family a chance to reform. Xiao Benfu, visibly anxious, begins to rub his hands together, a nervous smile spreading across his face. Yes, grandfather, you're absolutely right. The Jia family will surely treasure this opportunity. Yet, as he speaks, he remains oblivious to the missteps his family has taken to offend this man. Could it be connected to the United Alliance of 100 tribes? But Xiao Tian has never brought up the alliance at all. Perhaps it's best not to dwell on it and simply ask him directly. Xiao Benfu leans in with a smile and asks, "Grandfather, do you have any further instructions?" Xiao Tian casts a sidelong glance at him. "You should return to the Jia family first. Inform your family head that he needs to come and apologize. And remember, no tricks here, well aware of my strength." Xiao Benfu breaks into a cold sweat, but quickly regains his composure, adopting a submissive and respectful demeanor. "Rest assured, grandfather, I will convey your wishes exactly. Whatever requirements you have, our Jia family will cooperate fully." Xiao Tian waves his hand dismissively. "Very well then, just ensure your family head visits tomorrow, and don't be late." Upon hearing this, Xiao Benfu turns to leave, casting a lingering glance back at Xiao Tian as if lost in thought. Once he reaches the ground floor, he waves to Xiao Tian, reminding him that his grandson will return tomorrow and urging him to get some rest. Xiao Tian, still perched atop the tower, merely gestures for him to go. How could anyone resist the charm of such a cheerful and generous soul like Xiao Tian? Moments later, Xiao Benfu steps out of the building, a wave of relief washing over him as he pats his chest. He actually made it out alive. "I need to inform my grandfather right away." Xiao Tian appears to suspect that our Zhao family is colluding with the martial spirit army. Long Zhou Dao observes Xiao Benfu's retreating figure, a hint of concern in his eyes. "Are we really just letting him go?" Xiao Tian nods in response. Long Zhou Dao furrows his brow, confusion etched on his face. "So the plan is to let him leave, giving us time to set up an ambush." He shakes his head, skepticism creeping in. "I highly doubt the Zhao family head will come to apologize tomorrow. More likely, they'll surround us with their experts. The situation could unfold in a way that the enemy willingly walks into our trap, leading to their complete annihilation. No one will escape," he concludes. "Having the enemy deliver themselves to us, Sir Shaho, is a brilliant plan." Xiao Tian gestures for him to lower his voice. "Keep that admiration to yourself. Don't speak it aloud." "I can't draw too much attention to myself," Long Zhou Dao said, gesturing toward a nearby building. "Let's go check on the family we rescued at the checkpoint earlier." Xiao Tian glanced in the direction Long pointed. "Are you sure that's a side yard and not a garden?" he asked, raising an eyebrow. "All I can see are plants and flowers from up here." Long Zhou Dao shares the same confusion, Sir Shaho. "Should we head down and take a closer look? It must be the side yard." "All right, let's investigate," replies Xiao Tian. However, upon arrival, he is taken aback. It turns out that when the rescued individuals removed their hats, each of them had a flower or plant sprouting from their heads. No wonder it resembled a garden from above, Shastian muses. The leader, Wakaitu, gazes at him in surprise. "Is something wrong, benefactor? Have I offended you in some way?" Without missing a beat, Xiao Tian bluntly asks, "Why do you have flowers growing from your head?" Wakaitu instinctively touches his head, bewildered. "Oh, you mean this? Haven't you ever seen our flowerhead tribe before?" Xiao Tian shook his head in confusion, glancing at Long Zhou Dao, who wore a similarly puzzled expression. If even Long Zhou Dao was unfamiliar with them, it suggested that this tribe was a new race that had emerged after he was sealed within the Holy Dragon Relic. Yet, the flowerhead tribe clearly seemed to have crossed some boundaries of race. Xiao Tian glanced at Wakaitu, a thought nagging at him. With a hint of hesitation, he pulled him aside and whispered, "I have a question. I hope it's not too inappropriate, but I'm genuinely curious." Wakaitu, maintaining a serious expression, replied, "You can ask me anything. After all, you and your family have my gratitude." Taking a deep breath, Xiao Tian asked, "Do you wash your hair?" Long Zhou Dao, taken aback by the unexpected question, coughs vigorously. "That's so like you, Sir Xiao," he remarks, shaking his head. Huakai too steps in to clarify. "Our tribe doesn't need to wash our hair. The flowers on our heads absorb spiritual energy from the heavens and the earth, converting it into a dew-like essence. This dew possesses the remarkable ability to purify various spiritual energies, making it an exceptional ingredient for alchemy. Many members of our flowerhead tribe are not only skilled alchemists but also adept at cultivation." Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian's face brightens with excitement. "You can purify the spiritual energy of the heavens and earth? That's incredible! So that's how it works." Ever since Shatian infused the holy demon realm with fragments from various worlds, the spiritual energy has surged, becoming both richer and murkier. Even the most advanced magical formations have struggled to clarify it. But now, with the arrival of the Flowerhead tribe, could there finally be a solution? Eagerly, Xiaotian grips Hua Keitu's hand. "Sir, may I know your name?" "You may call me Huakwai-Tu, benefactor," he replies. Xiaotian raises an eyebrow. "I noticed you had a conflict with the guards at the border. Was it because you couldn't afford the toll? Didn't you look into the situation before coming here?" Huakai-Tu's brow furrows. "Benefactor, you may not be aware, but our homeland, the 100-Flower Domain, has been struck by calamity. We are refugees. After fleeing our homeland, we sought refuge with the United Alliance of 100 tribes. But we never anticipated the guards at the second defensive line, the enigmatic Wealth Mountain Range, to be so merciless. They demanded half of our possessions. Half! Xia Tian gasped in disbelief. I thought it was only 30%! While K2 grinds his teeth in frustration, the guards have informed him that 30% of their earnings go to tolls, while another 20% is pocketed by them. Hearing this, Xiao Tian and Wang Jiudao exchange a knowing glance before pressing for more information. What kind of calamity has befallen your homeland, the 100-flower domain that forced you to flee? At these words, Hua K2 visibly trembles, as if haunted by a terrifying memory. After a long pause, he finally speaks. In our 100-flower domain, many talented and powerful individuals have mysteriously had their souls drained and died. Xiao Tian turns to Wang Jiudao, his expression filled with concern. Soul draining? What kind of race would employ such a technique? Wang Jiudao sighs, shaking his head. I doubt there are many capable of such methods. Just then, Puppy interrupts, turning to Xia Tian. Master, based on Hua K2's description, the calamity that struck the 100-flower domain may be linked to soul draining, and soul draining is a talent of the ancient god tribe. Xiao Tian struggled to recall the ancient god tribe. Just then, Puppy materialized in its virtual form and began scanning the legacy data. Moments later, an old man appeared on the screen. What is this? Xiao Tian asked, puzzled. Puppy smiled knowingly. Master, have you forgotten? This embodies the legacy of the ancient god tribe. As Puppy explains, Xia Tian pauses, a realization dawning on him. Ah, you mean the legacy spirit I consumed while we were in my sea of consciousness? What happened to it? Noticing his recollection, Puppy presses on. Master, the calamity that struck the 100-flower domain may very well have been a result of soul draining. After analyzing the data left by the legacy spirit, I discovered that soul draining is a unique ability of the ancient god tribe. This strongly suggests they are behind it. I'm still scanning for more information. Hearing this, Xiao Tian murmurs to himself, if I can uncover who's draining souls in the 100-flower domain, those humanoid air purifiers will owe me a huge favor. It made sense to integrate them into the holy demon realm to purify its murky spiritual energy. This could work. I'll address the issues in the 100-flower domain on my way back to the holy demon realm. With this thought, Xiao Tian couldn't help but break into a self-satisfied smile. Both Hua Kai-tu and Wang Jiudao watched as Xiao Tian zoned out, unable to resist calling out, Sir Xiao! Sir Xiao! Snapping back to reality, Xiao Tian asked, What's up? With wide eyes, Wang Jiudao inquired. Sir Xiao, have you thought of something? Without hesitation, Xiao Tian replied, I just remembered that the methods used against the 100-flower domain might very well be from the ancient god tribe. Hua Kai-tu, clearly unfamiliar with the topic, asks in confusion, what is the ancient god tribe? Wang Jiudao shares his bewilderment. I've never heard of them either. If they truly possess such terrifying techniques as you suggest, why aren't they more widely known? Could it be that the ancient god tribe is a newly emerged race? Xiao Tian dismisses their concerns with a wave of his hand. Who cares? We'll uncover the truth when we visit the 100-flower domain on our way back, he said, trying to reassure Hua Kai-tu. You and your family should focus on resting. Don't worry about a thing. Once we've handled matters here, we'll head to the 100-flower domain and resolve this issue once and for all. Hua Kai-tu's expression remained one of terror. Benefactor, the 100-flower domain is incredibly dangerous right now. I can't let you take such a risk. Xiao Tian calmly extends a hand. Don't worry, I'm more than capable. But Hua Kai-tu's expression turns frantic. Benefactor, you've already saved our family. How could we possibly allow you to risk your life for the sake of our people? Before Hua Kai-tu could finish his sentence, he watched in awe as Xiao Tian effortlessly shattered a piece of high-level dimensional space with a single hand. You just casually destroyed a high-level dimensional space. Coming to his senses, Hua Kai-tu wrapped his arms around Xiao Tian's leg. On behalf of all the people of the 100-flower domain, thank you. Xiao Tian quickly helped him to his feet, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. No need for all this formality. We're on the same side now, Hua Kai-tu said, his gaze fixed on Xiao Tian with a look of deep admiration. To him, Xiao Tian was nothing short of a great benefactor. Little did they know, their entire clan was about to embark on a grueling journey ahead. Back home, Zhao Banfu rushes to his grandfather, Zhao Jingjing, eager to vent his frustrations. Grandpa, that guy is utterly inhuman. You have no idea the humiliation I've suffered. That Xia fellow beat me to a pulp on the flying boat and even made me call him Grandpa. Zhao Jing listens intently, nodding approvingly at his grandson's plight. You did well, he says, turning to pat his grandson on the shoulder. A good man knows when to bend and when to stand firm. It may seem humiliating to others, but to me, it demonstrates true courage, the courage to bow and the courage to endure. Cheered by the compliment, Zhao Benfu asks, "So, what should we do next?" Zhao Jingjing responds with a scheming smirk, her eyes glinting with mischief. "Tomorrow, your grandpa expects me to apologize," he said, a ruthless expression crossing his face. "So I'll prepare a special gift to make it clear who the real grandpa is." Alarmed, Zhao Benfu glanced at his grandfather. "Wait, grandpa, you're not planning to use that, are you?" Before he could finish, Zhao Jing interrupted him. "Exactly. I plan to use the Jade Shatter formation." Zhao Benfu swallowed hard, his expression turning grave. "Grandpa, we can't do this. This is our last trump card for the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. Once activated, it would lead to mutual destruction for us and the entire realm." Zhao Jingjing, unfazed, waved her hand dismissively. "What's all the fuss about? I have long modified this formation to ensure it only sacrifices the creatures native to the mysterious Wealth Mountain City, keeping our Zhao family untouched. Once I activate the formation and take down that Zhao individual, we will have rendered a significant service." Zhao Jing can't help but chuckle. By then, whether in the Elders' Council of the Alliance or the Martial Spirit Army, both will owe us a debt of gratitude. "Isn't it a win-win situation?" Zhao Jing exclaimed, growing more animated as he clenched his fist, convinced that Xiao Tian's fate was already sealed. Zhao Benfu bowed deeply, his respect evident. "Grandpa, you're brilliant, but this person is incredibly powerful. Will the Jade Shatter formation truly work?" At this, Zhao Jingjong chuckled softly, a glint of confidence in his eyes as he turned away. "Come with me, grandson. There are some family secrets you need to learn." They soon arrive at a hidden location. Zhao Benfu's eyes widen in shock as he sees a bound figure. "Grandpa, what is this?" he asks, confusion etched on his face. With a wild glint in his eyes, Zhao Jing replies, "This man is a descendant of the human emperor, and he has awakened the true imperial bloodline of humanity. Once extracted, his bloodline would be nothing short of extraordinary, wouldn't it?" Zhao Benfu was taken aback by his grandfather's words. "You can really extract the true imperial bloodline of humanity?" Zhao Jingjing replied with a calm demeanor. "Indeed, the method comes from the Martial Spirit Army. I can't guarantee its effectiveness, but the Jade Shatter formation will be activated using his blood as the core, along with the lives of 1 billion citizens from the mysterious Wealth City. Eliminating the arrogant Xiao Tian will be a breeze. Just one night is all it takes to activate the formation. Tomorrow will mark his day of reckoning." Zhao Jingjing sneers, treating the potential death of billions as if it were nothing more than a cold statistic. Caught up in the atmosphere, Zhao Benfu begins to feel a sense of eager anticipation, thinking to himself, "Grandpa, this time you're truly finished." Later that evening, Xiao Tian produces a ghost mask and hands it to Long Shu Dao. Puzzled, Long Shu Dao asks, "Lord Xiao, what exactly are we doing? Haven't you ever heard the saying, 'The night is dark and the wind is high'? It's the perfect time for a lesson," Xia Tian declares, donning his ghost mask as he gazes up at the palace. "We're heading to the Jia family to teach them a lesson." Long Shu Dao hesitates, concern flickering in his eyes. "But Lord Xiao, didn't you say they should come to see you tomorrow?" Xiao Tian shoots back. "What does that have to do with me visiting them now?" Long Shu Dao is left momentarily speechless. "Lord Xiao, you truly are cunning, always full of surprises," Long Shu Dao remarked, a hint of admiration in his voice. Before departing, Xia Tian instructed him, "Wait, don't act rashly, follow my commands closely, and stay by my side to avoid any unexpected situations." Long Shu Dao nodded lightly, adjusting his mask. "Understood, Lord Xiao." With that, Xiao Tian slowly ascended into the night sky, his movements deliberate and steady. Long Shu Dao trails behind, captivated by the dazzling lights of the enigmatic Wealth City. A sense of puzzlement washes over him. Isn't it a bit early for such brilliance? The night has only just begun. Despite his confusion, he remains committed to following Xiao Tian, steadily making his way toward the palace where the Jia family resides. Meanwhile, in a secluded residence within the enigmatic Wealth City, the woman Xiao Tian had previously encountered, who bears a striking resemblance to Shi Ruyan, paces anxiously. Beside her, a short-haired woman brandishes a knife, gesturing animatedly. Nearby, several members of the Flowerhead tribe sit, watching intently. "Enough with the pacing. You're making me dizzy," remarks Lu Guishang, the mother of the woman in blue. "Yes, she's the mother-in-law of the steamed Purple Emperor," Shururian said, her voice steady despite the tension in the air. "Mom, aren't you worried? Dad has been gone for so long." Shururian paused her pacing and turned to face her mother. "Don't underestimate your father," Lu Guishang replied, shaking her head with a hint of reassurance. He was once the god of wealth. As Lu Guixiang spoke, the members of the Flowerhead tribe nodded in agreement. It was true. Despite the city's exorbitant real estate prices, Shui Fugui, your father, had purchased a residence without hesitation. He even acquired the 3 neighboring properties to ensure peace and quiet. Suddenly, a noise echoed from the direction of the front gate, drawing their attention. A portly Shui Fugi returns, and Shirayong anxiously asks, "Dad, how did it go?" "Everything is set," he replies confidently. "As soon as I crush this jade token, they'll receive the signal to create a disturbance in Mysterious Wealth City, plunging it into chaos. That will give us the perfect opportunity to rescue our son-in-law." Lu Guixiang flexes her shoulders, ready for action. It had been a while since Shuaruian had last exercised her skills, and she couldn't help but wonder if she could still move as freely as before. Clenching her fists, she gazed up at the enormous palace floating in the sky. Her thoughts drifted to Brosy. Would he be able to hold on? "Don't worry, we'll all make it out of this safely," Suefugi reassured her, walking over and affectionately tousling his daughter's hair. "With your mom and dad here, you have nothing to fear," Sui Fuge reassures her. "Dad, I'm not a child anymore," Shururian retorts, her tone firm yet playful. Shui Fuge's eyes twinkle with warmth as he gazes at his daughter. "You'll always be my little girl," he replies, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. "I'm really sorry," he continues, his expression turning serious. "If it weren't for you rescuing us from the Void Bandits, we wouldn't have put you in danger." The leader of the Flowerhead tribe, Shoruyan, lets out a deep sigh of regret. She lifts her head and gestures reassuringly at the woman beside her. "You don't need to blame yourself. This isn't your fault. What we didn't anticipate was just how formidable the Jia family of Mysterious Wealth City truly is. They ambushed us before we even reached the region. Brosy was captured while trying to protect us all. Now that we've pinpointed where our son-in-law is being held and devised a rescue plan, the chaos that will engulf Mysterious Wealth City will be our best chance to free him." Just then, an earth-shattering roar echoes across the vast skies of Mysterious Wealth City. Everyone gazes upward at the floating palace, the majestic stronghold of the Jia family. A deafening blast reverberates through the air as their defensive formations crumble. Shao Tan has breached the Jia family's defenses. The supreme benevolent king of hell, deity Shao Tan, has arrived. Meanwhile, the Jia family, entrusted with safeguarding the second line, now behaves like a band of thieves caught in the act. "I can no longer tolerate your heinous acts. Today, I am here to administer justice. I am willing to give the Jia family a chance to repent. Everyone in Mysterious Wealth City, bear witness to whether the Jia family can be saved." As this thunderous declaration reverberates through the air, the crowd gazes skyward at Xiao Tian, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief. The protective formation surrounding the Jia family's celestial palace has been shattered. Shock and euphoria flicker across their faces. At last, someone has arrived to challenge the oppressive Jia family. Sui Fugi and Lu Guisheng exchange stunned glances, but soon their expressions shift to elation. "What a stroke of luck this is! We were just contemplating whether we would have a chance to act, and now that opportunity has arrived. It's time to make our move." But wait, Jurian remains calm, gazing up at the sky. "The one who shattered the formation must possess immense power. We shouldn't act recklessly. They likely have some sort of conflict with the Jia family. Let this formidable individual take the lead against the Jia family. Once they're fully engaged, we'll seize our chance to act." Hearing her father's plan, Shui Fugui nods in agreement. Meanwhile, Lu Guixiang grips a machete, casting a wary glance at the palace above. This supreme, benevolent king of hell, Sha Tian, truly commands respect. It's clear that those with immense power can shape their own destinies. Though caution is essential, he charged in without hesitation. There's something admirable about that audacity. Hearing her mother's words, Jurian nods in agreement, perhaps a bit too audacious. Lu Guishang is momentarily speechless, realizing that all she caught was the part about being bold. Just then, Xiao Tian arrives at the Celestial Palace, accompanied by Long Zhao Dao. This is where the Jia family resides, Xiao Tian muses, as he takes in the enchanting scenery, reminiscent of a fairy palace. "Lord Xiao, didn't you mention we should proceed with caution and avoid being reckless?" he asks, glancing at Long Zhao Dao with a hint of confusion. "Yes," Long Zhao Dao replies, "but what's the issue? Shouldn't we have quietly deciphered the formation and snuck into the Jia family palace to locate the key figures?" Long Zhao Dao suggested, making a slicing gesture across his neck. Xiao Tian frowned at him, his expression serious. "We are on the side of justice," he replied firmly. "We're here to eradicate the darkness and confront the cancer that is the Jia family. How could we stoop to their level and act like thieves?" When we arrived at the Jia family's estate, we were met with a formation blocking our path. Isn't it only logical to break through it with a punch? How can anyone consider that rash? Long Zhaodao opened his mouth to respond to Xiao Tian's challenge, but found himself at a loss for words. Once the formation was shattered, I took a moment to carefully analyze the situation. Breaking the formation would certainly raise alarms, so why not make an open declaration to the world? The inhabitants of the mysterious Wealth Mountain region have likely endured immense suffering under the Jia family's tyranny. Many may be on the brink of emotional collapse. This moment presents a perfect opportunity for enlightenment. It can show everyone that darkness cannot extinguish light, and that evil will ultimately fall before justice. After careful consideration, I've chosen to let this good deed resonate far and wide, spreading kindness and justice. Surely, you don't believe I'm doing this merely for fame, do you? As the formation erupts like a dazzling display of fireworks, Jia Xinjing, who had been deep in meditation, is abruptly awakened. The instant he opens his eyes, he witnesses the core of the entire formation hub shatter into fragments. For a brief moment, Jia Xinjing feels a wave of disorientation wash over her. Had the defensive formation she invested so much in just been shattered? Suddenly, Xiao Tian's voice echoes throughout the city, commanding attention. You, the Jia family, have committed countless unscrupulous deeds. I, the supreme benevolent king of hell, Xiao Tian, have come to teach you what it truly means to be human. As Jia Xinjing departs, the bound, esteemed Purple Emperor suddenly opens his eyes, fixating on her retreating figure. He murmurs softly, "Supreme Benevolent King of Hell Deity Xiao Tian." Quite an intimidating name. Yet, how could someone of my esteemed imperial lineage be so easily stripped of power? The Purple Emperor's confidence swells within him. Just then, the chains binding him within the formation erupt into flames. The blood being drained from him ignites with a searing heat. These fiery droplets absorb the spiritual energy from the formation's core, flowing back into his body. With each flame that merges with the esteemed Purple Emperor, his aura strengthens just a bit more. Witnessing this, the esteemed Purple Emperor can't help but break into a satisfied smile. I had initially intended to wait for my wife to rescue me, relying on my bloodline's power to erode the Jia family's formation and escape with her assistance. However, I never anticipated an unexpected intervention. This opportunity is too precious to miss. As the esteemed Purple Emperor feels a surge of power within him, he casts a glance at the formation. The Jia family truly possesses remarkable capabilities. Even the elder of the Shui family couldn't strip away my imperial bloodline. Yet this emperor from the mysterious Wealth Mountain range wields such sophisticated means. The Jia family surely has a mastermind pulling the strings, but for now, my priority is to escape. With that thought, the esteemed Purple Emperor takes a deep breath, unleashing his imperial aura, which sends ripples through the formation that envelops the entire hall. Meanwhile, in the square of the Jia family's residence, Xiao Tian and Long Zhaodao stand poised, their eyes fixed on the approaching figures, led by none other than Jia Benfu. Jia Benfu was on the brink of insanity. He was certain they had agreed to meet tomorrow, so why have they shown up tonight? Does this mean even the strongest can break their promises? One by one, other formidable members of the Jia family arrive, each radiating an impressive aura. Long Zhaodao scans the room, taking in the tense atmosphere. The leading elder stands at level 20, while the others average around level 18. Jia Xinjing's eyes lock onto Xiao Tian, but before he can utter a word, Xiao Tian cuts in. "My dear grandson, why are you just standing there? Your grandpa's here. Come and greet me." Jia Benfu nearly collapses, his hands clutching his face as he trembles and shakes his head in frantic disbelief. "That's not what was said," echoed through the room, confusion evident on the faces of the other Jia family elders. What was happening? Did Jia Benfu just recognize a stranger as an elder? As silence hung in the air, Xiao Tian's expression darkened. "My good grandson, are you really planning to deny me?" At those words, Jia Benfu jolted back to reality, his face draining of color as he stared at Xiao Tian in horror. Without hesitation, Jia Benfu bends his knees and gracefully kneels at Xiao Tian's feet, pointing at Jia Xinjing with fervor. "Grandpa, your good grandson has been eagerly waiting for you. This old man is trying to harm you." Jia Xinjing stands frozen, taken aback. This is the successor I've taken a liking to. Is he truly the one to whom I will entrust the future of the Jia family? As Jia Benfu's face radiates happiness and a sense of belonging, both Xiao Tian and Long Zhaodao stare at him in disbelief, their eyes wide with astonishment. After a moment, Long Zhaodao scratches his head and asks, "Lord Xiao, what's happening here? I've never seen anything like this before." Xiao Tian shrugs, shaking his head. "To be honest, this is my first time witnessing something like this too. Cao Tian quickly steadies his mind and reaches out to Long Zhao Dao through telepathy. Do you remember the monitoring formation we set up earlier as we ascended? Is it ready? Long Zhao Dao hesitates for a moment, recalling the Skynet mirror formation he had prepared. Lord Xiao, don't worry. Just give the signal, and I'll ensure that all the citizens of Mysterious Wealth Mountain City see the true, ugly face of the Jia family. In that moment, Jia Benfu erupted into tears once more. Grandpa, I swear I'm telling the truth. That old man has triggered something called the Jade Shatter Formation. It's extraordinary. It can sacrifice the lives of 1 billion beings in the Mysterious Wealth Mountain City to unleash a single devastating strike against you. I tried to leave the Sky Palace to warn you, but he was watching me too closely and wouldn't let me escape. Jia Xinjing stands in stunned silence. This kid has laid everything bare. Xia Tian nods thoughtfully. Earlier, when I ascended to this Sky Palace, I did sense a sacrificial formation. Is this the Jade Shatter Formation you mentioned? Jia Benfu beams with pride, as if he has just received a grand accolade. Yes, that's it. A smirk curls at the corner of Xiao Tian's mouth as a plan takes shape in his mind. Interesting. He then points at Jia Xinjing and asks, so the head of the Jia family, is this how you wield a formation meant to defend against external threats? For your own selfish gain. You've so easily extinguished the lives of countless innocent people in Mysterious Wealth Mountain City. Caught red-handed, Jia Xinjing stands momentarily stunned as the other powerful figures in the Jia family gaze at him in disbelief. Patriarch, is this true? This is no joking matter, they exclaim. Yet, Ya Xinjin responds with a smug smile. A joke? It's merely a formation. We've been consuming the resources from the United Alliance of 100 tribes for years. Every time, Jia Xinjing sneered, her expression twisted with disdain. Haven't you all followed me, filling your bellies and greasing your lips? What's there to be surprised about now? So what if we sacrifice 1 billion lives? What's the problem? Her words dripped with indifference, revealing her complete disregard for the lives of ordinary people. Xiao Tian exchanged a glance with Long Zhao Dao, a silent signal that the moment had come. Activate the formation. I want to socially annihilate them, he commanded. Meanwhile, Jia Xinjing remained blissfully unaware, lost in his fervent speech. They are nothing but lowly beings. It is their honor to be sacrificed to the Jade Shatter Formation. He continued, his voice rising with conviction. If anyone dares to investigate, we can easily claim the formation was employed to fend off the martial spirit army. Finally, unable to contain himself, Long Zhao Dao speaks up. Are you really so certain that the meteor flame battlefield will fall, and that you'll confront the martial spirit army? Jia Xinjing responds with an air of confidence, a fearless smile playing on his lips. Haven't you already realized that our Jia family has allied with the martial spirit army? Why ask what you already know? What's the point? Suddenly, a chorus of furious voices erupts around him. What's the point? Do our lives mean nothing to you? The Zias have tormented us long enough. Now you're teaming up with the martial spirit army to threaten the meteor flame battlefield? That's crossing the line. It's only then that Jia Xinjing catches sight of the sky mirror above, the realization hitting him like a cold wave. Everything he has said and done is being broadcast live for all to see. In that moment, a wave of fervent shouts erupted from the crowd, demanding the downfall of the Jia family. Long Zhao Dao turned to exchange a knowing glance with Xiao Tian, just as expected from Lord Xiao. He approached the situation with honor and transparency, compelling the opposition to reveal their true intentions. Meanwhile, Jia Xinjing seethed with rage, his body trembling with fury. Fine, you'll regret this, he sneered. You think you're clever? You believe you're winning? Fool, you're courting death. At that moment, the enigmatic Wealth Mountain Range echoed with ominous curses. Shui Ruyan and her family, accompanied by many from the Flowerhead tribe, stepped out to witness the unfolding chaos in the streets. Countless people are pointing at Jia Xinjing in the sky mirror, cursing and demanding the downfall of the Jia family. Vo Fugi pinches his chubby chin, pondering. I spent money to incite chaos among the citizens of Wealth Mountain City, yet this feels far beyond what I orchestrated. The uproar here is far greater than I anticipated. Beside him, Sui Ruyan gazes intently at the sky mirror, her expression a mix of concern and intrigue. This situation is more serious than we anticipated. Jia Xinjing's secret has been completely unveiled, and he may resort to eliminating everyone in the enigmatic Wealth Mountain City to silence them. The sacrifices for the Jade Shatter Formation are far from over. Lu Guisheng steps forward, her gaze shifting between her husband and daughter. Should we take action now? Both of them exchange surprised glances. Not yet. The situation is undeniably intense, but it lacks the necessary chaos. She then turns to Shui Fugui. Dad, your money hasn't gone to waste. The kindling is soaked in oil. It just needs a spark. At her words, Shui Fugui pulls out a jade token. You make a good point, he replies, and with a decisive crunch, he shatters the token. Across the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range, those who have been bribed receive the signal. At that moment, the Jaya family's second-line defense force storms into the city, ruthlessly suppressing the crowd. This group, once tasked with defending the area from external threats, now turns their weapons against the very people they were sworn to protect. A torch held by a member of the Flowerhead tribe is suddenly extinguished. Witnessing this, the tribe erupts in fury. They've decided to take action. Wipe out these scum. The grievances of the past surge to the surface, igniting their rage. Shouts and battle cries begin to drown out the curses as the crowd stands fearless, ready to confront their enemies. With Lord Xiao Tian championing justice and leading the charge, what are we waiting for? Are we really going to cower until our last breath? It's time to rise up and overthrow the tyrannical Jaya family. Today is the day. The situation is spiraling further into chaos. Jia Xinjing casts a wary glance back at the turmoil unfolding behind her. These so-called defenders are utterly useless. They can't even silence these dissenting voices. As he glances at Chao Tian, a thought crosses his mind. Once I eliminate this instigator, the rest will be powerless to make a fuss. Furious, Jia Xinjing grits his teeth, a palpable murderous aura radiating from him. Everything he has painstakingly built lies in ruins, all because of this shameless individual. Suddenly, Jia Xinjing's voice cuts through the silence, directed at the empty space behind him. Stop watching. If this situation isn't resolved, it won't end well for you either. Just as he finishes, ripples shimmer in the air, and several figures materialize behind him. You've really messed this up, haven't you? They belong to a race that Xiao Tian knows all too well. The Blood Grudge clan has also lost 20 warriors. With a smirk, the leader with yellow hair taunts. Looks like your good days are over. At the sound of the mockery, Jia Xinjing narrows his eyes, his mind racing. First, we need to figure out how to clean up this mess. The cat's out of the bag now. We have to eliminate the witnesses to keep this quiet and slow the spread of the news. A malicious glint flickers in his expression. I recall that the Blood Grudge clan possesses a blood curse technique capable of tracing a person's loved ones through their blood, correct? A figure with yellow hair chuckles softly. What? You want to search for his relatives? That's rather petty. Petty. Jia Xinjing flexes his muscles, frustration evident in his stance. This guy has turned me into a public enemy. How could I possibly let him go? Suddenly his voice trails off. Out of nowhere, a figure with yellow hair appears before Xiao Tian, kneeling submissively. Xiao Tian casually extends his hand, gripping the figure's throat, as if yellow hair had willingly offered himself up. What on earth is happening? Jia Xinjing stands in disbelief. Are you all just putting on a show? One moment, they were chatting beside her, and the next, they were in Xiao Tian's grasp. Yellow hair takes a deep breath, unleashing his spiritual energy with a sudden intensity. His body reverberates with a deep rumble as his muscles flex, harmonizing with the surging red energy that surrounds him. With a fierce shout, the warrior with yellow hair attempts to summon a terrifying power, commanding himself to rise. Yet, he remains utterly still. Xiao Tian's hand looms above him like an unyielding sky, holding him firmly in place. A heavy silence envelops the scene, and panic begins to seep into yellow hair's thoughts. I'm a tier 20 warrior. Why can't I break free from the grip of this insignificant human? As if granting his wish, Xiao Tian slowly raises his hand, helping him to his feet. Yellow hair finally experiences that overwhelming power firsthand. With just a slight pressure from Xiao Tian's fingertips, he lets out a gut-wrenching scream. Meanwhile, Jia Benfu kneels beside him, trembling with fear. As Xiao Tian lifts the yellow-haired boy like a little chick, Jia Benfu can hardly contain his thoughts. I knew it. I knew Xiao Tian was a force to be reckoned with. He quickly corrects himself. No, he's not a monster. He's my grandfather, my formidable grandfather. Finally, Xiao Tian breaks the silence. I came here to teach them a lesson, to awaken their conscience. I didn't expect a menace like you to show up before we even began. It seems you are the backbone of the Jia family's wicked deeds. With that, Xiao Tian's hand, gripping the yellow-haired figure, flicks upward. In an instant, the yellow hair becomes a blur, shooting skyward and piercing through the clouds. The screams echo endlessly. Moments later, those around hear Xiao Tian murmur softly, Current power, 7/10,000ths. Jia Benfu stands frozen, utterly dumbfounded by what he's just heard. My dear grandfather, you can control your power down to such a minuscule fraction. While he's still reeling from the revelation, Xiao Tian unleashes a punch into the sky. The very fabric of space tears apart as a palpable force surges upward. With his yellow hair whipping in the wind, he feels an overwhelming force rushing towards him. Below, the ground shatters, piece by piece, and his heart tightens with an instinctive dread. In the next moment, an unimaginable power envelops him entirely. The path of blood power awaits. Despite being a Tier 20 warrior and exhausting all his power, he is ruthlessly shattered. Yellow Hair screams in terror, "No, don't!" Just before his demise, he loses all composure, hurling curses into the void. "Jia Jing, you ageless beast! You idiot! You dragged me into this, you dog!" His voice abruptly cuts off as his body violently disintegrates. The surrounding space shatters into fragments, resembling shattered mirrors. With a sharp sound, Xiao Tian withdraws his fist and addresses those before him. "Listen. Ding ding, ding ling, the bell has rung. It's time for class." Jia Jing trembles, her eyes wide with fear as she gazes at Xiao Tian. He swallows hard, sweat trickling down his forehead. Only now does he truly grasp the depth of Zhao Benfu's prowess. Truly worthy of being the successor I have my eye on. "Grandson, you're a clever little devil." After effortlessly dispatching the formidable warrior from the Blood Grudge clan, Xiao Tian casually brushes off his hands. The annoying pest has been dealt with. Now it's time for the Zhao family to face the consequences. Heaven is merciful. Even if you've committed heinous crimes, as long as you can prove yourself, I'm willing to offer you a chance at redemption. Jia Jing trembles uncontrollably, his mind racing. Is this truly a stroke of good fortune? Could this be the whim of a powerful individual? A preference for encouraging virtue? He makes a secret resolution. He must seize this opportunity to survive. Xiao Tian extends a finger and begins. First, relinquish your position as the guardian of the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. Then, transfer ownership of the mountain range to me as compensation for my emotional distress. After all, you've conspired with the martial spirit army to secretly plot against me, inflicting irreparable damage to my spirit. As these words hang in the air, Jia Genjing forces a broad smile, but internally, he seethes. This is absolute nonsense. The pact I forged with the martial spirit army was made decades ago, long before you were even born. How could it possibly have been directed at you? For the sake of survival, he forces himself to stay calm. Don't be angry. Don't be angry. As long as I can save my life, everything he says must be right. I'll give him whatever he wants. With this thought in mind, Jia Jing quickly bows and replies, "If that's what you say, it's no problem at all. I'll issue a notice right away, declaring you the lord of the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range." At that moment, Long Zhou Dao interjects. "The mysterious Wealth Mountain Range has already formed a world heart. You must transfer this world heart to Lord Xiao." Xiao Tian's expression shifts to one of surprise. What exactly is a world heart? He wonders. The world heart is a manifestation of the domain world's energy, a powerful essence that embodies the very spirit of the land. This is the control nexus of a domain world, a place where one can wield power over everything within, enhancing both cultivation and combat abilities. Jia Jing stands frozen, astonished. How does he know I possess the world heart? This secret is known only to the martial spirit army and the Jia family. Even the Council of Elders from the United Alliance of 100 Tribes is unaware of this. How could an outsider possibly know? Noticing his silence, Long Zhou Dao cheats him. "Are you saying you didn't create this world heart?" Jia Jing offers an awkward smile in response. "How could that be? I was just about to hand over the world heart." Xiao Tian steps closer to Long Zhou Dao and, with a swift motion, reveals an unusual stone. In an instant, it materializes before Jia Jing, radiating powerful energy. This is the legendary world heart of the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. Intrigued, Xiao Tian reaches out to touch it. "So this is what they call the world heart?" Jia Jing is taken aback. Is he out of his mind? This is the heart of the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. To reach out directly means facing the overwhelming pressure of the entire mountain range, and no one is stopping him. Does he truly believe he possesses the strength to withstand the force of an entire domain? Jia Jing suddenly feels a surge of anticipation. This confidence is almost overwhelming. She can't wait to witness his downfall. If he is defeated, the Jia family will be safe. Crush him! Under Jia Jing's expectant gaze, Sha Qian casually picks up the world heart between his fingers. To her surprise, it actually looks quite beautiful. Jia Jingjing feels as though he's been struck by lightning. What on earth is happening? He's holding the world heart, a symbol of the immense pressure of an entire domain world, delicately between his fingers. The mountain range is his, yet Jia Jingjing has other plans. The world heart embodies the natural laws of a domain. Do you really believe that simply claiming it makes it yours? That's an astonishing level of arrogance. But in the blink of an eye, Jia Jingjing watches in disbelief as his control over the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range slips away from him, flowing directly into Xiaotian. He stands there, utterly dumbfounded. What just happened? My control was taken without my consent. Xiaotian stands momentarily stunned, but then he notices the world heart vanishing into his hand, absorbed along with that control. Now that I possess the world heart, I can sense everything within the domain of the mysterious Wealth Mountain range with clarity. This newfound ability is far more convenient than relying solely on my physical eyes. Xiaotian nods with satisfaction. You've done well in fulfilling my first request to become the lord of the mysterious Wealth Mountain range. This shows me you're committed to changing your ways. He raises 2 fingers. My second request is for you to fully grasp the meaning of responsibility and duty. At this, Jia Jingjing looks utterly bewildered, unsure of what Xiaotian is referring to. Xiaotian smiles as he explains the situation. The meteor flame battlefield ahead is in desperate need of reinforcements. As the defensive army for the second line, it's your moment to step into battle. After all, as the saying goes, you train troops for 1,000 days only to use them for a moment. Now is the perfect time for you to prove yourselves. Upon hearing this, Jia Jing quickly agrees. Rest assured, once we reach the Meteor Flame battlefield, we'll fight the enemy with all our might and honor your teachings. Yet inside, he chuckles triumphantly. This is a stroke of luck. If the united alliance of 100 tribes proves unreliable, he can always shift his allegiance to the martial spirit army. As soon as we arrive at the Meteor Flame battlefield, I'll join them, and my family will be safe. Unbeknownst to Jia Jingjing, Xiaotian shares his thoughts with Long Zhao Dao. You see, there are no truly evil people in this world. With patience and love, even the most wicked can be reformed. Long Zhao Dao, however, remains skeptical, pondering that Jia Jing doesn't strike him as the type to change his ways, no matter how cunning he may be. Could he truly outwit Xiaotian? Turning to Jia Jing, Xiaotian says, since you've agreed to go to the Meteor Flame battlefield to redeem yourselves, it's time to get moving. Eagerly, Jia Jingjing responds, all right. Shall we start packing and head to the Meteor Flame battlefield? Suddenly, Xiaotian waves his hand. There's no need for all this fuss, he says, unexpectedly drawing a long knife. You can simply use this knife to commit seppuku. With a swift motion, he plunges the blade into the ground, startling Jia Jingjing and his companions. Jia Jing hesitates, confusion etched on his face. Lord Xia, what do you mean? Xiaotian shakes his head, a somber expression settling over him. I can't be sure you won't join forces with the martial spirit army when you reach the battlefield. You can stain this knife with your blood, and I'll send someone else to wield it against the enemy. That would be your way of atoning for your sins. And the best part? You won't even have to go far. Isn't that convenient? Jia Jing's disbelief is palpable as he processes Xiaotian's shocking suggestion of using the knife for seppuku. You're joking, right? He asks, his voice laced with incredulity. Xiaotian, however, remains unfazed, gesturing toward the long knife before him. Nope, I'm very serious. You can use your blood and life to empower this blade. Then Bai Qing will wield it against our enemies. Your family spirit will be with her, granting her the courage she needs. By doing this, you can leave behind a good reputation, making your atonement truly meaningful. Honestly, I can't see any reason for you to refuse. Jia Jing stands in stunned silence. Xiaotian then turns to Long Zhao Dao. Can you think of any reason? Long Zhao Dao shakes his head, a solemn expression on his face. I can't accept this. This is such a perfect solution that even I can't refuse. Jia Jing thinks, a surge of anger rising within him. He's treating us like animals for blood sacrifice, trampling on the dignity of our Jia family. Unable to contain himself, Jia Jing shouts, is having power really an excuse to do whatever you want? Long Zhao Dao replies with calm confidence, having power does grant you the freedom to act as you wish. But isn't that exactly what you've been doing? Jia Jing falls silent, his teeth clenched in frustration. Just then, Xiaotian, rubbing his forehead, interjects. Oh, before you go through with that seppuku of yours, mind telling me where your treasure is? I could use some compensation for my services. I've traveled a long way to offer you my advice, and naturally, I expect to be compensated for it. The audacity of the demand hangs heavy in the air, leaving everyone in stunned silence. Even Long Jiao Dao appears taken aback. Meanwhile, Jia Jingjing is on the verge of exploding. Is this even human language? Is this something a sane person would actually say? He seeks to settle scores for those who perished on the Meteor Flame battlefield, targeting me, the one who colluded with the martial spirit army. But just then, Jia Jingjing's expression shifts dramatically. None of you here should even think about escaping. Did you really believe my humility signified an admission of guilt? I was merely buying time. Now is my moment to counterattack. Jia Jingjing clasps his hands together, and the blood-red formation materializes behind him. Jade Shatter Formation, rise, he shouts. A deep humming fills the air as a mysterious force begins to gather, siphoning life, spiritual energy, and essence from unknown sources. Everything is drawn toward Jia Jingjing, condensing into his very being. The tension in the Zhao family is palpable, even for Zhao Benfu, who kneels on the ground, acutely aware of their dwindling life force. Spiritual energy and blood are being ruthlessly siphoned away. Jia Jingjing's manic voice cuts through the air. The martial spirit army revealed another use for the Jade Shatter Formation. I've sacrificed the entire clan to empower myself alone. You didn't see this coming, did you, Xiaotian? This time next year will mark the anniversary of your death. At this moment, the fading members of the Zhao family cry out, "Grandpa, no! Jia Jingjing, may you suffer a terrible fate." In stark contrast, Jia Jing's condition continues to improve. His aura strengthens, reaching new heights. Long Dao watches in astonishment, realizing the depths of this man's shamelessness. He has truly killed his own clan with his own hands. Xiao Tian snorts coldly. This isn't the Jade Shatter Formation. It's a blood-drinking formation, designed to sacrifice clan members for a desperate turnaround. Long Dao turns to him, surprise etched on his face. Xiao Tian, when did you become so knowledgeable about formations? I once acquired ancient texts from the ancient god tribe, Xiao Tian replies, a hint of pride in his voice. The records from the Soul Intent clan detail the infamous blood-drinking formation. Meanwhile, as the conversation unfolds, Zhao Benfu and the other members of the Zhao family have already met their tragic end. Jia Jing exhales deeply, a wave of relief washing over him. He lowers his gaze to his hands, a manic laugh escaping his lips as he grapples with the weight of the moment. This power is intoxicating. Take out the Holy Dragon Relic and activate the formation, Xiaoqian commands. Though Long Dao doesn't fully grasp the significance of this action, he obediently retrieves the relic. Just as he completes the task, Jia Jing springs into action, drawing a long knife with a gleeful laugh. I'm quite skilled with knives too, she declares. You'll regret this, Xiao Tian mutters, disinterestedly picking at his ear. All right, begin your performance. As Jia Jing raises his knife and charges forward, shouting, "Prepare to die!" Long Dao quickly steps in front of Xiao Tian, urging, "My lord, please step back." But in an instant, the previously calm atmosphere warps dramatically. A surge of spatial translocation envelops Jia Jingjing. Before Long Dao can react, she harnesses this power to warp through space and make her escape. Long Dao stands speechless, realizing the gravity of the situation. The old man understands he can't win, so he resorts to the power gained from sacrificing his clan to flee, even burning his own spiritual energy to hasten his departure. How ruthlessly decisive. What a pity. Xiao Tian yawned, realizing there was no need to waste energy chasing after him now. Unfortunately for his adversary, Lord Xiao Tian had already anticipated this escape. Once the Holy Dragon Relic formation was fully activated, it would automatically detect any spatial translocations nearby, effortlessly manipulating the enemy as if they were in the palm of his hand. Truly impressive, my lord, Xiao Tian remarks, pulling the long knife from the ground. He turns to Long Dao and commands, "Release him." In an instant, Jia Jingjing is expelled from the Holy Dragon Relic. As he gazes at the familiar faces surrounding him, a look of disbelief washes over him. Didn't I escape? He wonders, bewildered. How did I end up back here? Xiao Tian grips his shoulder firmly. Enough running. It's time to get serious. You need to reveal the location of your treasure vault, pay your tuition, and start correcting your ways. Consider it part of your homework. We're all grown men here, so why are you hesitating over this knife? With that, Xiao Tian hands the knife to Jia Jingjing. The message was unmistakable. Jia Jingjing, clutching the long knife, trembled in fear, tears streaming down his face. "Please, spare my life. I'll tell you everything. I swear, I'll reveal it all." In contrast, Xiao Tian remained composed, calmly directing Long Chu-dao to set up a recording formation to capture every one of Jia Jingjing's crimes. Long Chu-dao activates the formation and declares, "I'm ready, Lord Xiao." In response, Xiao Tian glances down at Jia Jingjing and prompts, "Go ahead, share everything you've done in detail." Jia Jing nods eagerly. "Yes, I'll explain right away. I once conspired with the martial spirit army on the battlefield, plotting to kill my father, the first-generation guardian. I took his place. With the unspoken approval of the United Alliance of 100 Tribes Elder Council, I've been quietly siphoning resources from the Meteor Flame battlefield. I even withheld supplies that were meant to be regularly dispatched to the front lines. My level 20 was forged from these very resources. But that's not all. I also sold unique materials and vital information to the Martial Spirit Army." Upon hearing this, both Xiatian and Long Chu-dao regard him with expressions of disdain and anger. This man deserves to die. Under their intense gazes, Jia Jing steels himself and pleads, "I've said everything I needed to say. Can you forgive my past mistakes? I truly understand how wrong I was." Xiao Tian steps forward, gripping Jia Jing's wrist firmly. "Of course, I'm willing to forgive you, and I believe you'll change for the better," he says, his voice steady. As he speaks, he slowly lifts the hand that clutches the knife. In an instant, he applies pressure, and before Jia Jingjing realizes what's happening, the blade plunges into his own chest. His eyes brim with disbelief. Drawing out the knife, Xiao Tian scoffs, "I can forgive you, but as for the soldiers you slain and the innocent lives ruined by the Jia family, you'll have to ask them yourself if they can find it in their hearts to forgive you." In a daze, Jia Jingjing catches a fleeting vision of his father in his final moments and instinctively cries out, "Father!" However, the last words his father uttered before passing were a curse, wishing him an ill fate. Xiao Tian stared at him, bewildered. "I'm not your father. Stop shouting nonsense." At this, Jia Jing coughed up a mouthful of blood. "You scoundrel! I'm dying, and you still take advantage of me!" With those final words, Jia Jingjing collapsed to the ground, lifeless. Unfazed, Xiao Tian sheaths his knife and calls out to Long Chu-dao, "Let's go. I just sense that someone is trapped in the formation behind us in the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range." Meanwhile, within the heavenly palace of the Wealth Mountain Range, the esteemed Purple Emperor struggles against the formation chains, desperately trying to break free and escape. As the two figures stepped into the room, the esteemed Purple Emperor paused, his gaze sharp. "My brother," he inquired, "could you be the supreme benevolent king of hell, deity Xiao Tian?" Before he could finish, Xiao Tian raised his hand, cutting him off. "Hold on before you call me brother," he said, a knowing look in his eyes. The sight of the familiar binding method stirred a sense of recognition deep within him. In that familiar formation, with those unmistakable golden locks, Xiao Tian feels as though he's awakening from a dream. "You wouldn't happen to have the surname Z, would you?" The esteemed Purple Emperor's heart races. This man begins by inquiring about his surname. Could he be here to capture him? "No, I must change my appearance. I can't let him recognize me." In an instant, the esteemed Purple Emperor activates a secret technique, transforming his appearance entirely. When Xiao Tian approaches to investigate, he finds a figure who bears no resemblance to Ziruyan. "Could this really not be my father-in-law?" The Purple Emperor then speaks. "My good brother, my name is Zhou Xintong." But as he looks up, he is met with Xiao Tian's wide, beaming grin. "Isn't he here to capture me? Why does he seem so pleased to learn that I'm not the esteemed Purple Emperor? Shouldn't he be disappointed?" Xiao Tian, confused by his reaction, eagerly grabs the chains of the formation. "Hold on! I'll come and save you right away." The esteemed Purple Emperor suddenly feels a jolt of fear and quickly interjects, "Wait, brother, this formation is powerful and somewhat unusual, but it's already too late." As Xiao Tian begins to exert pressure on the chains, the formation responds instantly. A crimson light surges directly into Xiao Tian's mind. "Master, your soul is under attack," Puppy warns urgently. According to the ancient scriptures of the God tribe, the formation restraining the man before you is known as the soul-locking golden strike formation. This technique, frequently employed by the ancient God tribe, seems to bind the physical body, but in truth, it seals the soul. Xiao Tian's expression darkens. "The ancient God tribe again," he mutters, frustration evident in his voice. Never mind, it's not important, Xiao Tian said, brushing aside the thought. But a soul attack? Why don't I feel anything? Because your soul is too strong, Puppy replied, a hint of amusement in its tone. The shock from this soul-locking golden strike formation is like scratching an itch to a thick layer of armor for you. It's insignificant. Xiao Tian nodded, murmuring in understanding as he continued to apply pressure. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Tian shatters the chains that bound him. The esteemed Purple Emperor watches in disbelief, astonished that the very formation chains he struggled against have been effortlessly torn apart by this man. With a calm demeanor, Xiao Tian addresses him. Now that you're free, go reunite with your family. A look of admiration washes over the esteemed Purple Emperor's face. Benefactor, I cannot forget your life-saving grace. How can I ever repay you? Xiao Tian dismissively waves his hand. Don't be like that. I, the supreme benevolent king of hell, do good deeds without seeking fame or reward. Now, go back. Your family must be worried about you. The esteemed Purple Emperor clasps his fists in gratitude. Thank you, Brother Sha. I hope we meet again someday to share wine and good company. As the esteemed Purple Emperor departs, Xiao Tian feels a wave of sentiment wash over him. Another day spent doing good deeds. How wonderful it is. Beside him, Long Chudao strokes his beard, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. Something feels amiss. Why does that person's aura seem so familiar? At that moment, Xiao Tian nudged Long Chudao with his elbow. What are you daydreaming about? Let's go. It's time to collect the tuition from the Jia family. He strode confidently toward the Jia family's treasure vault, stopping right in front of the door. Suddenly, Long Chudao's eyes widened in realization. My lord, we don't seem to have a key. Xiao Tan casually turns his head to look at him. Are you stupid? What do we need a key for when I'm here? With that, he steps forward, grips the doorknob, and effortlessly twists it, lifting the entire door off its hinges. Long Chudao stands in stunned silence, realizing just how much he had underestimated him. Soon, the sight inside the treasure vault leaves both of them speechless. The Jia family truly hasn't held back. As Xiao Tian gazes at the room brimming with rare and valuable items, he lets out a sigh. These are all treasures the Jia family acquired at the cost of human lives. It seems I'll need to offer them some extra tutoring after class. With such resources at their disposal, I should do something more for Jia Jingjing and her family. Long Chudao stares at him in disbelief. Lord Xiao, what do you mean? Xiao Chen offers a faint smile. I plan to erect a statue of Jia Jingjing in the heart of mysterious Wealth Mountain City. Beside it, I'll place a stone tablet chronicling all his past deeds. My intention is for this statue to endure public humiliation and physical abuse in Jia Jing's name. In that moment, it would feel as though he were atoning for his sins. If Jia Jing were still alive, he would likely be brought to tears. Long Chudao stands in silence, pondering. Whether he would truly be moved remains uncertain. However, if someone were to rise from the dead in a fit of rage, it would undoubtedly be your doing. As Long Chudao contemplates, Xiao Tian suddenly spins around and calls out, "What are you still thinking about? Let's go." Long Chudao is taken aback. Leave? Are we taking anything with us? But when he turns his head, he's left speechless. What the? You've already taken everything? Xiao Tian's expression turns serious. Don't doubt my abilities. I can endlessly expand your understanding of what's possible. Let's go. However, Long Chudao shook his head. Lord Xiao, it may not be wise for us to leave just yet. The mysterious Wealth Mountain Range serves as a secondary defense line, and its location is too critical. If we simply depart, what will happen to this situation? The entire J family has perished, leaving the mountain range resembling a headless dragon. Its power diminished. Unruly garrison troops roam freely, adding to the chaos. Xiao Tian shrugs, unfazed by the turmoil. To restore the mysterious wealth of the mountain range, a strong leader is essential. Yet, it's clear that he is not that person. Just as Long Chudao is about to speak, Xiao Tian interrupts him. I can't handle it directly. However, I can shift the Holy Demon domain and merge it with the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. Once that's done, Shi Ruyan will surely find a way to address the issue of insubordination. Long Chudao is left speechless, his surprise evident. Only you would dare to propose such an audacious idea, merging two colossal domain worlds? How can you even entertain such thoughts? Lord Xiao, these matters shouldn't be approached recklessly. What if something goes wrong and both domains implode? Xiao Tian furrows his brow, a hint of confusion crossing his face. It shouldn't explode, right? Besides, if we successfully merge them, the second defense line will directly belong to our Holy Demon domain. The title of garrison commander could go to Shi Ruyan, and the United Alliance of 100 tribes could send resources our way. Isn't it advantageous for us to guard the second defense line? Long Kudao's eyes sparkled with excitement. Exactly! Why should we let the benefits slip away to others? We're allied with Bai Qing, which means we stand alongside leader Su of the United Alliance of 100 tribes. If the Jia family can seize these resources, so can we, Long Chudao remarked, a sly expression crossing his face as he turned to Xiao Tian. But why would you want to hand the garrison commander position to Emperor Shi? Xiao Tian responded coolly. If I were to give it to Luo Feng Yuan, she'd likely transform the second defense line into an assault camp, constantly pushing the garrison troops into battle. I can't possibly hand it over to her. Now, you need to take care of the next steps. Reorganize Mysterious Wealth Mountain City and integrate the garrison troops. Find some locals to temporarily manage the Mysterious Wealth Mountain range. Once everything is in place, we'll head to the 100-flower domain with Wakaitu. We'll merge it with the Mysterious Wealth Mountain range first as a trial run. If everything goes according to plan, we'll relocate the Holy Demon Domain, Xiao Tian said, stifling a yawn. But first, I really need some sleep. Staying up late is terrible for the skin, and I still need to rely on this face to get by. Long Zhou Dao stood beside him, speechless. Lazy is lazy, he thought. What's with all this talk about bad skin affecting your ability to get by? With a sense of calm, Long Zhou Dao assigns the tasks with ease. It's always simpler for a leader to issue commands, while the real work falls to the subordinates who must scurry about. With a sigh, he dons the mask that Xiao Tian gifted him and sets off for Mysterious Wealth Mountain City. I'll use his lifeless body to instill fear in the people of Mysterious Wealth Mountain City. They will know exactly who rescued them from their dire plight. In an instant, Long Zhou Dao unleashes his dragon aura, a magnificent and commanding spirit that fills the air. The hearts of everyone still battling below tremble at the sight. Long Zhou Dao announces to everyone, the criminal ringleader Jia Jing has been executed by my lord, the great deity Xiao Tian. In a small courtyard, Lu Guisheng, Sui Ruyan, and the others stare in disbelief at the heavenly net mirror. The powerful dragon aura radiating from the masked figure is undeniable. Who is this enigmatic warrior? Such strength is truly awe-inspiring. Is he truly just a follower of that former supreme benevolent king of hell? And what of Jia Jing, the head of the second defense line? Has he really fallen? If the battle has concluded, then why hasn't Z Brother returned yet? Just then, a stranger burst through the door, calling out for Shui Ruyan with urgency. At the sound of that familiar voice, Shui Ruyan's expression shifts to one of surprise. Esteemed Purple Emperor, why do you have Zhou Shandong's face? She asks, wrapping her arm around his. Let's go inside and talk. Once they step into the courtyard, Shui Fugui and the others look on in confusion. Daughter, who is this? The esteemed Purple Emperor swiftly cancels his secret technique. A burst of golden light fills the air, and he winces, rubbing his sore face. This secret technique for altering one's appearance is excruciating. Who on earth devised this? A masochist? Vo Qi Fugi grumbled. He then turned to his son-in-law, asking, why did you change like this? I've never encountered a technique quite like it before. The esteemed Purple Emperor scratched his head in confusion. Before I was rescued, I couldn't tell if that supreme benevolent king of hell, the deity named Xia Tian, was a friend or a foe. To protect my identity, I had to alter my appearance. Sui Ruyan interjects, you met Xiao Tian, the formidable figure from the heavenly palace. Not just met, I reply. He was the one who saved me. He even asked if my surname was Z. Sui Ruyan's eyes widen in realization. No wonder you had to change your appearance. Thankfully, you managed to keep your identity a secret. Did he truly come to capture you? The esteemed Purple Emperor shakes his head. It doesn't seem that way. When I lied about my name, he appeared genuinely pleased that it didn't start with a Z. Oddly enough, I felt a strange connection to him. Xia Fugi finally adds, some people just have a way of making you feel close to them. Did he truly come to capture you? The esteemed Purple Emperor shakes his head. It doesn't seem that way. When I lied about my name, he appeared genuinely pleased that it didn't start with a Z. Oddly enough, I felt a strange connection to him. Xia Fugi finally adds, some people just have a way of making you feel close to them. Don't overthink it. This Xiao Tian is likely a young master from a prominent clan. After all, how else could he have such a formidable follower? The esteemed Purple Emperor nodded in agreement. You're right. Let's not dwell on his lineage. We need to leave quickly. We can't linger in the Mysterious Wealth Mountain range for too long. Let's journey to the holy demon domain. Sometime later, within the heavenly palace, Xiao Tian lies soundly asleep, blissfully comfortable. Below him, a large group of rebels from the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range stands in disarray, their faces bruised and swollen. Long Chu Dao looms above them, delivering a stern reprimand. "I told you to stop, but you didn't listen," I said, my voice low and steady. "I had no choice but to step in and beat you to a pulp before you'd finally hear me. How shameless can you be?" Nobody dared to utter a word. We were caught up in the chaos of the fight with the garrison, completely oblivious to your shouts for us to stop. Suddenly, Long Chu Dao raised his hand, and everyone instinctively recoiled, sensing the tension in the air. Long Chu Dao clears his throat, a satisfied glint in his eyes. "Let's not beat around the bush. Lord Xiao has decisively eliminated the Jia family. From this moment on, the mysterious Wealth Mountain range is under Lord Xiao's control. Soon, it will be governed by a new power known as the Great Flame Dynasty. Depending on the territorial circumstances, certain areas may also be allocated to the primordial demon kingdom. However, everything will ultimately fall under the joint jurisdiction of the Empress Union." Long Chu Dao then produces a stack of small books. These contain the general rules of the Empress Union and various governmental regulations, he explains. "Get acquainted with them, as you will be assisting me in governing the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range." Everyone picks up a book and continues to listen to Long Chu Dao. Remember, Lord Xiao has no tolerance for deceit. Those crooked scoundrels will face dire consequences at his hands. It's important to note that Jia Jing was left emotionally shattered before his death, pleading for mercy with tears streaming down his face. The crowd stands in stunned silence. Mouths agape, the crowd is left in stunned silence. What could that supreme benevolent king of hell deity have done to make Jia Jing break down like this? Long Chu Dao gazes back at the onlookers, challenging them with his stare. "Do you have anything to say?" But no one responds. They shake their heads, quickly burying themselves in the books clutched in their hands. The only sound that fills the air is the soft rustle of turning pages. Suddenly, someone exclaimed, "The Great Flame Dynasty, the Primordial Demon Kingdom, the Empress Union, this is simply incredible! If we truly govern the mysterious Wealth Mountain range according to these texts, it couldn't be more perfect." "Exactly," another agreed. "The future looks bright for the mysterious Wealth Mountain range." "Indeed," a third added. "Those who can challenge the Jia family are certainly no less formidable." Long Chu Dao seizes the moment to speak. "In the coming days, we must collaborate effectively to unravel the mysteries of the wealth-laden mountain range. We cannot afford to disappoint Lord Xiao. Take my advice. You can cross anyone, but never Lord Xiao. Trust me, you wouldn't want to know what it feels like to be worse than dead." "Would you?" Long Chu Dao asked, handing over a small vial. "Take these pills. For the next 7 days, you won't need to eat, drink, or sleep. Use this time wisely to accomplish what Lord Xiao has assigned." "Understood?" The group stood at attention, their voices rising in unison. "Understood." A satisfied smile spread across Long Chu Dao's face. "Look at that spirit. Indeed, it was I who trained someone so effectively in such a short time." The next morning, Xiao Tian awakens, stretches leisurely, and steps outside. To his astonishment, he finds that Long Chu Dao has already organized the mysterious Wealth Mountain range with remarkable speed. Impressive efficiency, he muses. As for the remaining tasks, he can only wonder how many days it will take to complete them all. Let him take care of it. I'll spend a few days enjoying some leisure time exploring, eating, and drinking. But if anyone needs help, all they have to do is shout, "Supreme Benevolent King of Hell Deity," and I'll be there to save the day. Today, he responds to the people's cries, ready to eliminate the bandits. The moment the bandits catch sight of that familiar mask, they flee in terror, screaming for their lives. How did they manage to release the Supreme Benevolent King of Hell Deity? Weren't his subordinates the ones handling the bandits for the past 3 days? Why has he chosen to intervene personally today? They clearly lack any sense of martial virtue, yet no amount of pleading or tears will redeem their fallen hearts. With a swift motion, Xiao Tian unleashes a single devastating punch. The sheer force of his punch obliterates not just the bandits, but also levels the surrounding mountains. He clenches his fist and glances back, a smirk playing on his lips. Was it really that simple? One punch was all it took to dispatch the mountain bandits. It took them 3 days and they still couldn't manage it? Long Chu Dao remained silent, having long since become accustomed to such extraordinary displays of power. The others watch in a mix of awe and terror, their eyes widening at the scene unfolding before them. Fortunately, the crowd erupts into cheerful applause, eagerly waving at Xiao Tian. Choosing not to scold his subordinates any further, he returns the gesture with a wave. Meanwhile, Long Chu Dao remains unfazed by the spectacle, while children begin to gather around Xiao Tian, drawn to his presence. It's clear that the man holds considerable popularity. However, once Lord Sha Ho merges the 100-flower domain and mysterious wealth mountain into the Holy Demon realm, the cultivation level of Holy Demon Emperor Luo Taiyuedian, who is intricately linked to the realm, is poised to soar. Meanwhile, the esteemed Purple Emperor and his companions are aboard a flying boat, drawing closer to the boundary of the Holy Demon realm. Zhe Fugi stands at the bow of the boat, gazing out in awe. This holy demon realm is enormous. Are mid-level worlds usually this vast? Lu Guishang joins in, her eyes scanning the horizon. Not only that, but it seems there are fewer fragments of smaller worlds nearby. At that moment, the esteemed Purple Emperor approaches them, his expression serious. According to Luo's guidance, this is undoubtedly the holy demon realm. As they approached the boundary, a sense of anticipation filled the air. The guards provided their final instructions. Once you cross the boundary, everything will become clear. You'll spot navigation markers to guide you, but heed this warning. No void-flying spiritual tools are allowed within the city limits. With a nod, they listened intently. To reach the primordial demon kingdom, turn left. For the Great Flame Dynasty, turn right. Everyone is bewildered. Turn right for the Great Flame Dynasty? What does that even mean? As their confusion lingers, the guards grow impatient. Why are you still standing there? You've completed the registration. Move along. Moments later, they cross the boundary and step into the mainland. Zhui Fugi immediately senses the abundant spiritual energy in the air, even denser than in many high-level worlds. This is undoubtedly due in part to the efforts of the Flowerhead tribe. Just as he begins to marvel at the surroundings, Lu Guixiang suddenly interrupts him. Now's not the time to be lost in wonder. What's happening with the Great Flame Dynasty? Wasn't it taken by a powerful being? How did it end up in the Holy Demon realm? The esteemed Purple Emperor shook his head, confusion etched on his face. I have no idea. Besides, the Great Flame Dynasty in this Holy Demon realm might not even belong to us. After all, humans inhabit the Holy Demon realm. Perhaps Luo simply allowed them to establish this dynasty for his own amusement. Suddenly, Shuarian pointed in a direction, exclaiming, "Look!" Everyone quickly turned their gaze upward to see a massive sign on a floating island. "All right, let's not jump to conclusions. We'll investigate for ourselves," Shuarian added. The flying boat adjusted its course and continued onward. Before long, it touched down on the mountaintop. Everyone gazed down at the bustling city below, and Shuarian was left in awe. This is truly the Great Flame Dynasty, he marveled, but then a question nagged at him. How did it end up in the Holy Demon domain? Shu Fuge broke the silence, his brow furrowed in confusion. Are you saying that the territory of the Great Flame Dynasty, which should be in the Southern Wilderness realm, has somehow appeared in the Holy Demon domain? Nearby, esteemed Purple Emperor shared their bewilderment, equally perplexed by the situation. "Let's go. We should enter the city and explore," one of them suggested. They strolled along the main street, taking in the bustling crowd around them. This place was more than just an outpost. It was a thriving trading hub. Suddenly, a regal figure in a purple robe halted their carriage. "Young man," he called out, "my family and I have just arrived here. We wish to travel to the Great Flame Dynasty. May we accompany you? It will be safer for all of us," he suggested, pulling out a pouch of money. The young man accepted it with a smile, eager to agree. As they journeyed together, everyone marveled at the unfamiliar infrastructure around them. Esteemed Purple Emperor remarked, "This road is fascinating, quite convenient, indeed. It appears that the array inscribed along this official road enhances the six-hoofed creatures pulling the carriage." The young man replied proudly, "This road was commissioned by Minister Zhang. All the roads in our Great Flame Dynasty are now built this way. With these improvements, our lives have become much better. Even when traveling on foot, the arrays help alleviate fatigue, allowing people to move with greater ease." The esteemed Purple Emperor, sensing the shift in conversation, asked, "Do you know the name of Minister Zhang?" The young man glanced at the Emperor and replied, "Of course, he is the Prime Minister of our Great Flame Dynasty." The Emperor nodded, a hint of nostalgia in his voice as he remarked, "Yes, it truly is him." From inside the carriage, Zuarine spoke up. Judging by your demeanor, it seems you're living well. You must have a good Empress. The young man nodded. Indeed, our great flame Emperor Shi is deeply respected and revered by all of us. As he bowed respectfully towards the palace, both the steamed Purple Emperor and Suor Wen felt a wave of reassurance. It appeared that the Empress of the Great Flame Dynasty was still Shi Ruoyan, and she was safe. Shui Fugui and Lu Guisheng were equally thrilled, their mouths agape in excitement. We'll soon see our beloved granddaughter Zurian, they exclaimed, turning to the young man. You all seem to hold her in high regard, don't you? The young man's face flushed with emotion as he replied, Of course. Our Empress works diligently and with great dedication. She has brought prosperity to our Great Flame Dynasty. Who wouldn't admire her? Yet, we cannot overlook the accomplishments of the prince who stands behind the Empress, the finest prince in our realm. The four of them paused, momentarily taken aback. What do you mean? Xie Fugi, more seasoned and worldly, quickly regained his composure and turned to the young man. It seems you all hold this prince in high regard. Without hesitation, the young man replied, How could we have lived such good lives without the prince? If it weren't for him, the Empress would have faced grave consequences, and we might not have survived. The Great Flame Dynasty would have vanished long ago. Where would we find the united reign of the current Empress? In these prosperous times, the news startled both the steamed Purple Emperor and Syrian. Shi Ruyan had narrowly escaped disaster. The steamed Purple Emperor immediately pressed. What do you mean our Empress almost died? What happened? The young man's eyes sparkled with excitement. You've come to the right person, he replied. I witnessed it all unfold. At that time, the Astral Pavilion and the Eastern Flame Kingdom had united against us. Empress Shi stood resolutely, facing two formidable opponents, those body cultivators. Just as it seemed she would be struck down, Empress Lu intervened, joining forces with Shi Ruyan to turn the tide of battle. Reflecting on his daughter's brave efforts in battle, the Purple Emperor felt a sharp pang of anguish in his heart. He realized how fortunate he was to have treated his subjects with sincerity and kindness. Otherwise, they might have turned their backs on Shi Ruyan in her time of need. Noticing his distress, Zoran quickly stepped forward to offer comfort. Though unspoken, the young man's resolve remained unwavering as he continued onward. In that moment, fear and desperation gripped us, mingling with a fierce anger. We were bracing ourselves for a fight to the death when the prince arrived. You may not fully grasp the weight of that moment. The atmosphere was thick with hopelessness. Everyone believed survival was beyond our reach. The Empress fought with a fierce determination, embodying a do-or-die spirit. Then, in a pivotal moment, the prince appeared, blazing like a fire on the distant horizon. With unwavering strength, he stood firm, shielding the Empress, defending the Great Flame Dynasty, and ultimately saving us all. The young man paused, letting out a deep sigh. In that battle, the prince had unleashed a secret technique. He sacrificed himself to save us all. I can't help but wonder how the prince is faring now. Xuaren gazed blankly at the esteemed Purple Emperor, a swirl of thoughts racing through her mind. Such risks should never have arisen in the first place. Why hadn't the precautions left by Elder Luo or the Shadow Guards been implemented? Thankfully, all of that is behind us now. She turned her gaze back to the young man. I wonder what other achievements the prince has accomplished that deserve our admiration. The young man responded with enthusiasm. Oh, there are plenty. Beyond the road infrastructure, there's the livestock on Great Flame Mountain, the Great Flame Line, and various other products. All these initiatives were spearheaded by the prince to foster the development of Great Flame. He also established numerous welfare institutions, and his list of benevolent actions is extensive. Once we enter the city, you'll witness it all for yourselves. Speaking of the prince, there was quite an amusing incident during that battle at the Imperial City. The four of them leaned in, grinning with anticipation. The young man continued. When the prince first appeared, he concealed his identity behind a ghost mask. How could the people not recognize him? As they began shouting out his name, the prince looked surprisingly bashful. The four onlookers were taken aback, their expressions a mix of shock and disbelief. The esteemed Purple Emperor felt a wave of numbness wash over him. A ghost mask? Are you kidding me? This has to be a coincidence, he muttered, shaking his head in disbelief as he tried to dismiss the absurd thoughts swirling in his mind. Turning to the young man, he asked, Do you know the title or full name of this prince? Without missing a beat, the young man produced a wooden carving and replied, Of course! He is known as our supreme benevolent sugar baby deity, Xiao Tian. Prince Xiao and Sir Xiao, along with the others, found themselves momentarily speechless, struggling to comprehend the peculiar title, Supreme Benevolent Sugar Baby Deity. What kind of name was that? Suddenly, Shui Fugi, upon hearing the term Sugar Baby, turned to fix a pointed gaze on the esteemed Purple Emperor. The Emperor's expression shifted instantly to one of displeasure. "Father-in-law, why are you looking at me like that?" the young man asked, a hint of confusion in his voice. Despite having been frequently shielded by Shuerian during his early days at the Shuer residence, he still held the esteemed title of the founding emperor of their nation. Shuerian, feeling a bit flustered, raised an eyebrow at the young man. "That title doesn't sound quite right, does it?" With a proud smile, the young man replied, "Supreme Benevolent represents the prince's benevolence. The deity symbolizes immense power, while Sugar Baby embodies the prince's spirit and serves as the motto for our Sugar Baby Association. Externally gentle, yet internally resilient, it promotes acts of kindness and strives for world peace. Now, consider this. Many view being a kept man or relying on a woman as a disgraceful act, a sign of incompetence. But our prince is different. He redefines the very concept of worth. He has shown us that social status does not dictate value, and society's opinions hold no power over our true selves. Only we can define who we are." The young man's passionate words left the group in stunned silence, grappling with the weight of his message. Why was I mocked for being cared for by the Shui family, while Xiao Tian is revered and respected by everyone, despite being in a seemingly similar position? Can one truly elevate their status through noble spirit alone? Is it all about inherent talent? Shurian attempted to console him. "It's all right. The Xiao Tian we're discussing may not be the same one we encountered at the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. Let's gather more information before jumping to conclusions," one of them suggested. "Remember how you used to praise Sha for being so great and how he saved you? If it turns out we're talking about him, that would be quite awkward." Just then, the group arrived at the southern border gateway. Meanwhile, within the palace, Xiaoyu Wei hurried into the imperial study to inform Zurian. "Mother, there's news," Xiao Yu said urgently. "Grandfather and grandmother's names have appeared at the border check." Zeroian's body stiffened, her expression transforming into one of disbelief. Sensing her shock, Xiao Yu spread her hands wide and continued, "Look, mother!" In an instant, Xiao Yue shifted back to her original form, revealing several names clearly inscribed on her belly. Zeroian was taken aback. "Esteemed Purple Emperor and Shuruian, those are my parents' names. And Shui Fugi and Lu Guisheng, my mother mentioned them once. They are my grandparents. This can't be just a coincidence." He glanced at Xiaoyu Yue, who wore a smug expression. "You only mentioned it once, and I remembered it immediately." Zirian gently patted Xiao Yu's head, praising her. "You are truly remarkable." Yet, Xiao Yu could see that Ziruian's expression was not one of excitement. It was filled with deep longing and concern. Noticing the worry etched on her mother's face, Xiao Yue quickly reassured her, "Mother, don't worry." Ziruian took a deep breath and replied, "We can't draw conclusions based solely on names. We need to see them in person to confirm their identities. Given the current situation, we can't risk someone impersonating my parents," she said, her voice steady. "Xiao Yu, do you have any safe methods to verify their identity?" Xiao Yu raised an eyebrow, her expression radiating confidence. "That's simple, mother. You can release the authentic bloodline aura of the human emperor. As you come into contact with grandfather, if he emanates the same bloodline aura, then it must be him." After a moment of contemplation, Zeruian responded, "That's a solid plan. Do you know where they are now?" Xiao Yu replied with confidence, "They've just entered the southern gateway and haven't left yet." Zeruian's face lit up with excitement. "Great, let's go meet them." As the esteemed Purple Emperor and his companions passed through the city gates, they gazed at the transformed landscape, lost in thought. Just a few years ago, this place was desolate. Now, a vibrant city had blossomed before their eyes, truly impressive. Suddenly, Shui Fugi gestured toward a nearby building and turned to the young man. "What is the purpose of that structure?" he inquired. The young man smiled. "That place is known as a residential community, a brilliant innovation by Prince Xiao Tian. The materials used have been specially refined for this purpose." The esteemed Purple Emperor furrowed his brow in confusion. "Given that, will there be enough resources to sustain it? The Great Flame Dynasty won't face financial strain, will it?" The young man smiled brightly. "Of course not. Both the treasuries of the Great Flame Dynasty and the Primordial Demon Kingdom are under Prince Xiao Tian's supervision. He has a remarkable talent for generating wealth, and both treasuries frequently benefit from his generous contributions. Everyone agrees that Prince Xiao Tian is indeed the Empress's most valuable partner, and just look at those buildings on either side. That's where our Living Off Others Association hosts its events, he said, a spark of pride in his voice. The prince himself oversaw their construction. The four of them gazed at the nameplates on the buildings, momentarily speechless. Finally, the young man continued with excitement. The one on the left offers shelter for orphans and the elderly, while the one on the right focuses on educating the children. The group stood in stunned silence. While their intentions were admirable, surely they could have chosen better names. Just then, a shout pierced the air. "Mother, over there!" They turned to see Zero Yuan suddenly exclaiming, "Imperial aura suppression." A regal purple emperor fixed his gaze upon his radiant daughter, a mix of pride and authority in his eyes. Is that Zero Yuan? He thought, but before he could voice his question, Zero Yuan sensed something was off. The man's imperial aura was alarmingly weak. Could he be an imposter? Anger flared within Zero Yuan. "How dare you deceive me? You got some nerve to say this." With that, she unleashed an even greater pressure. Under the weight of her force, the once proud purple emperor knelt on one knee, coughing violently. Inwardly, he marveled, "My daughter has grown so powerful. Unfortunately, I can't unleash my realm's aura. If I did, and it even touched a single hair on her head, Shorin would make sure I went bald on the spot." Just then, Xiao Yu chimed in. "Mother, if you keep this up, grandfather will be forced to the ground." Zero Yuan paused, turning sharply to Xiao Yu. "What did you say?" Xiao Yu quickly clarified. "Mother, that's grandfather. The bloodline aura he carries is genuine." Zero Yuan was taken aback, but he seemed so weak. Xiao Yu nodded. "It's because of father. Your bloodline has been significantly strengthened over time. Not just you. My second maternal grandfather's aura would likely be suppressed by my second mother as well," Xiao Yu explained. Zero Yuan, taken aback, quickly retracted her oppressive presence. Moments later, the group arrived back at the palace, and the esteemed purple emperor let out a sigh of relief. Finally home, he teased Zero Yuan. "Dear daughter, why so quiet now? You were quite majestic earlier. What happened? Why not unleash your bloodline aura again? It was so powerful that your old man almost knelt before you. Now that would be embarrassing." Zero Yuan was at a loss for words. Just then, Shuuru Yuan playfully slapped the esteemed purple emperor on the shoulder. "Why are you scolding her? Zero Yuan didn't mean to do it. It's your fault for not being strong enough to handle your daughter's aura. And you have the nerve to be angry?" The esteemed purple emperor scratched his head sheepishly, trying to defend himself. "It wasn't like that, Shuuru Yuan. I was merely trying to lighten the mood," as Zero Yuan appeared quite embarrassed. However, Shuuru Yuan had no patience for his explanations. She shot him a piercing glance, causing the esteemed purple emperor to immediately wilt under her gaze, mumbling an apology. In that moment, Shuuru Yuan's expression softened, radiating a warmth filled with motherly love. As she opened her arms to Zero Yuan, a wave of emotion washed over her. Zero Yuan rushed into her embrace, calling out, "Mother!" They held each other tightly. "You must have faced so many hardships over the years, but I'm back now. Everything is okay," she reassured her. "I've always known you to be strong-willed. If you need to cry, let it out. Vent your feelings. If anyone has bullied you in the past, tell me, and we'll teach them a lesson." Zero Yuan felt a wave of happiness wash over her as she closed her eyes. "No, mother," she replied softly, feeling the warmth of her mother's gentle touch as she stroked her hair. Shuuru Yuan smiled. "I never imagined you'd grow up so fast. You've done an outstanding job as Empress, far better than your father," the esteemed purple emperor remarked, his expression betraying a sense of numbness. "Why does it always come back to me?" Suddenly, Zero Yuan's demeanor shifted. Following her gaze, Shuuru Yuan noticed two women approaching slowly. Suppressing her emotions, Zero Yuan asked, "How long have you been here?" Luo Feng Yuan and Bai Qing struggled to stifle their laughter. In a playful imitation of Zero Yuan, Luo Feng Yuan leaned into Bai Qing's chest and exclaimed, "Mother!" The mocking gestures only fueled Zero Yuan's irritation. Undeterred, Luo Feng Yuan continued to tease, "Your reunion with Uncle Zhe and Aunt Shuer was quite the spectacle. I've even asked Xiao Yu to capture it all with a formation." As soon as Xiao's brother returned, Zero Yuan let out a fierce roar and charged at her, but Luo Feng Yuan sidestepped gracefully, a teasing smile playing on her lips as she glanced back at Zero Yuan with a mischievous grin. And just like that, the clash between the human Empress Zero Yuan and the demon Empress Luo Feng Yuan was reignited once more. Bai Qing turned to the esteemed purple emperor and the others, her excitement palpable as she offered them some snacks. "Want some?" she asked cheerfully. The esteemed purple emperor and the others exchanged stunned glances before quickly declining. With a casual shrug, Bai Qing took a piece for herself, munching contentedly as she added, "Don't worry about them. They spar frequently." Oh, and she's Uncle Luo's daughter, Luo Fengyuan, the current holy demon empress of the primordial demon kingdom. The esteemed purple emperor inquired, isn't brother Luo Fengyuan in the holy demon domain? Bai Qing, still chewing on her snack, replied, Uncle Luo is on the battlefield. He's likely been captured and is in grave danger. We're preparing to rescue him. With Uncle Zhe back, our chances of success have significantly improved. Shui Ru patted Bai Qing on the shoulder. Child, tell us what happened, all right? Bai Qing nodded in agreement. Meanwhile, in the infinite void, Xiao Tian finally arrived at his destination. He pointed toward the realm ahead and asked Huakai Tu, is this your hometown? Just as Huakai Tu was about to nod, Xiao Tian suddenly seized both his and Wang Judao's hands, preparing to charge forward. But then, without warning, Xiao Tian came to a halt, leaving everyone else confused. What just happened? Why did we stop? He turned to Huakai Tu, his expression serious. Has the heart of the world of your 100-flower domain formed? Huakai Tu shook his head in confusion. No, Wang Judao clarified. Forming the heart of the world is no simple feat. It demands secret techniques to gather the world's rules, and executing those methods is incredibly challenging. Our clan leader once attempted to form the heart, but the difficulty proved too great, and he ultimately gave up. A mysterious smile played on Xiao Tian's lips. This should be intriguing, mused Xiao Tian. The heart of the 100-flower domain had finally taken shape. Just then, the system puppy chimed in. Respected master, the heart of the 100-flower domain has successfully formed. However, the world barrier is protected by formations. If we approach recklessly, we risk alerting them. Additionally, it appears that this domain is experiencing some erosion. In just 15 days, the 100-flower domain is set to descend into a lower realm. Upon hearing this, a wave of fury washed over Xiao Tian. Why does it feel like the entire universe is conspiring against me? The 100-flower domain was supposed to merge with the holy demon domain, yet someone is attempting to seize it. Is there no law and order left in this world? Noticing Xiao Tian's agitation, Wang Judao quickly inquired, Lord Xiao, what troubles you? Gritting his teeth, Xiao Tian growled. Someone is trying to steal what's rightfully mine. Without a moment's hesitation, he dragged the other two along, heading straight for the world barrier. He thought to himself, even if they detect our intrusion, so what? Shameless thieves dare to confront me head-on. But as soon as they crossed into the barrier, they were suddenly blinded by an intense light. Damn, it's so bright. Is your homeland always this dazzling? Huakai Tu glanced around, equally bewildered. My lord, the 100-flower domain wasn't like this before, he added, his confusion deepening. Xiao Tian furrowed his brow. Can this world really change its color on its own? No, Huakai Tu replied, shaking his head. It used to look just like a regular place and everyone lived near Flower God City. Xiao Tian interrupted him, saying, let's save the details for later. First, take us to where you used to live. And please, stop calling me my lord from now on. Huakai Tu stared at Xiao Tian in surprise. How should I address you then? After a brief pause, Xiao Tian replied, just call me the king of hell deity. Wang Judao, on the other hand, could only stare in disbelief, rendered speechless by the exchange. He wondered just how much Lord Shao dreaded being referred to as the supreme benevolent sugar baby deity. Meanwhile, in the heart of 100-flower God City, countless vines ensnared the area, binding the Flowerhead clan's leader, Hua Jia. Kneeling on the ground, he felt a deep sense of humiliation as the vines relentlessly infused him with power. Unable to endure the torment any longer, Hua Jia confronted the hooded figure before him. Why are you slaughtering our people and forcefully infusing us with this power? What is your goal? In response, Di Xinlu raised a hand slightly, and a vine lashed out, striking Hua Jia across the face. With a swift motion, Di Xinlu clenched his fist, causing vines to wrap around Hua Jia, silencing him completely. Internally fuming yet feeling utterly helpless, Hua Jia assessed the situation. Not only had Di Xinlu effortlessly formed the heart of the world within the 100-flower domain, but even the flower divine ancient tree seemed to obey him. How infuriating! Just then, a sudden disturbance rippled through the heart of the world. Di Xinlu quickly sensed someone had forcefully breached the barrier of this mid-tier world. Someone with such abilities must be at least of the 20th tier. Could it be a reinforcement summoned by the escaped Flowerhead tribe? As he spoke, Di Xinlu snapped his fingers, commanding, send someone to investigate. In an instant, a long-haired figure clad in a black robe appeared, kneeling before him. Master, the individual called out. Di Xinlu then turned his attention to a world map, deep in thought. In the serene landing area of the 100-flower domain, a sense of calm belied the tension brewing beneath the surface. Investigate for any suspicious individuals, whether they belong to the Flowerhead tribe or are outsiders, the commander instructed. If you encounter anything unusual, eliminate it. With a confident flick of their wrist, the subordinate brandished their weapon. I'll ensure they meet their end swiftly and silently. Di Xinlu, fully trusting in their abilities, smiled with a hint of malice, her eyes glinting with anticipation. Allow me to express my gratitude on behalf of the intruder for your kindness, he said. At that moment, in the heart of the 100-flower domain's flower god city, a majestic ancient tree towered at the center, its presence commanding respect. Xiao Tian, flanked by Long Chu Dao and Hua Kai Tu, approached the base of the tree, inhaling the refreshing fragrance of the flower god tree. This tree has a delightful scent, Xiao Tian remarked, a hint of appreciation in his voice. As thoughts of grilling meat from the Great Flame Farm danced in his mind, he pondered whether it would taste even better on skewers. Suddenly, a group of guards emerged behind the trio, the Peaceful Landing City Guard Force. Who are you? Stay away from our flower god's offspring tree, one of them commanded, his tone stern. Startled, Xiao Tian turned to face them, noting the seriousness etched on their faces. The city guards were clearly on high alert, reflecting the grim situation throughout the 100-flower domain. Sensing the urgency, Hua Kai Tu swiftly removed his mask. The guards' expression shifted to shock as they recognized him. Young lord, we thought you had left the 100-flower domain. What brings you back? Waving his hand, Hua Kai Tu replied, It's a long story, but I've returned on urgent business. These two gentlemen are esteemed guests I've invited to help save our 100-flower domain. This is the supreme benevolent king of hell deity, Lord Sha Tian, and beside him is Mr. Long Chu Dao of the heavy holy dragon cavalry, hailing from Dragon Mound. The guards immediately knelt in respect. Greetings, esteemed guests, they said in unison. Xiao Tian gestured for them to rise, then pointed at the flower god's offspring tree. Can this tree be turned into skewers for grilling? Or perhaps I could take the whole thing with me. His words left even Hua Kai Tu momentarily speechless. Lord Zhao, choose your words wisely, the elder warned. This offspring tree of the flower god is grown from a branch of our revered Flowerhead tribe's divine ancient tree. To turn it into a mere skewer would be a grave insult and could provoke the wrath of the flower divine ancient tree itself. Xiao Tian furrowed his brow in confusion. What do you mean by reverence and punishment? It's just a piece of wood. Why make such a fuss? One guard wondered aloud. With a name like that, it seemed tailor-made for perfect grilling skewers. The guards were utterly flabbergasted. Ever since the turmoil in the 100-flower domain, the flower divine ancient tree had seemingly withdrawn its protection over the Flowerhead tribe. There had even been incidents where the offspring of the flower god had turned against its own cities, causing destruction. As anticipated, the offspring tree began to tremble violently, sending waves of dread through the onlookers. Their minds went blank in horror. This was it. Peaceful Landing City was on the brink of destruction at the hands of the flower god's offspring tree. Gazing up at the ancient tree, poised for a violent outburst, Xiao Tian couldn't help but remark, Impressive. Can this tree attack people too? As the swift branches of the trees rushed toward him, Xiao Tian rolled up his sleeves, a determined glint in his eyes. Come on then, let's see what you've got, he challenged. Hua Kai Tu's voice trembled with concern. Lord Xiao, be careful. But in the next moment, everyone stood frozen in shock. What the hell is going on? They watched as the branches continued to sway, wooden sticks the size of skewers dancing among the leaves. The tree even seemed to wrap its foliage around them, presenting its offerings respectfully to Xiao Tian. Unable to contain his admiration, Xiao Tian exclaimed, Marvelous! It would be a shame to cut down such a magnificent tree. Hua Kai Tu, still recovering from the shock, added, Thank goodness. I was already aware of Lord Xiao's power, so this was well within my expectations. He turned his gaze to the three guards who stood frozen in shock, unable to utter a word. Is this truly the offspring of the flower god? Where is its pride? This has to be a deception. Seizing the moment while everyone was still, Xiao Tian signaled to Long Chu Dao with a subtle glance, indicating that it was his turn to step forward. Understanding the cue, Long Chu Dao cleared his throat and addressed the gathered members of the Flowerhead tribe. Our supreme and benevolent king of hell deity, Lord Xiao Tian, firmly believes that all hardships will eventually pass. He is committed to helping the 100-flower domain overcome its challenges. The reason the flower god's offspring tree stands so close to Lord Xiao is that it understands this truth. Whispering to the ancient tree, he added, If you don't want to be uprooted, you'd better cooperate. In an instant, the massive flower god's offspring tree began to tremble. Its crown rustled as it shed bright green leaves, which, infused with spiritual energy, transformed into a dazzling array of colors. The crowd watched in awe. Just how powerful was this supreme benevolent king of hell, Xiao Tian, that he could make the flower god's offspring tree submit to him? Whispers spread through the onlookers he had been invited by the young lord. Did this mean salvation for our 100-flower domain? Look! The offspring tree was bending over backward to please Lord Xiao, to the point of losing its leaves. Long Chu Dao, witnessing the hope blossoming among the people, remarked, Lord Xiao may have come here to harness the flowerhead tribe to purify the spiritual energy of the holy demon domain. Yet, for the entire 100-flower domain, Lord Xiao's arrival is a beacon of light in their darkest hour. At that moment, Huakai Tu interjected, My father is in the city lord's mansion. Lord Xiao, allow me to guide you, said Huakai Tu. Xiao Chen nodded slightly, signaling him to lead the way. Moments later, they arrived at the city lord's mansion. As Huakai Tu pushed open the door, his face drained of color at the shocking sight before him. Both Xia Tian and Long Chudao were equally taken aback. There, bound by a sinister vine, was Hua Jingshan, its tendrils siphoning his strength relentlessly. Seeing his father's weakened state, Huakai Tu cried out in alarm and rushed forward, but hesitated, fearing that any rash actions might harm him. Hua Jingxian looked up, surprise etched on his face. Why are you back? He asked, bewildered. Huakai Tu gritted his teeth, urgency in his voice. What's happening? Can't the vine be removed? It can't be pulled out. Child, this is the root of the flower divine ancient tree. How could it possibly be moved? As those words sank in, tears filled Huakai Tu's eyes. Father, I've been unfilial. I shouldn't have left the 100-flower domain. Hua Jingxian's expression shifted to one of fury. Nonsense! Leaving the 100-flower domain was your duty as a son. You are all young and in your prime. By leaving, you can help our clan grow and expand. Suddenly, Xiao Tian's voice broke in. Sorry to interrupt. As he placed his hand on the vine, Hua Jingxian froze, uncertain of his intentions. In the next moment, with a gentle tug, Xiao Tian severed the vine. The broken vine quickly retracted, but Xiao Tian seized it, saying, Did you make a mistake and now think you can just run away? It's not that easy. As he exerted more force, the vine shattered, transforming into a brilliant, luminous green glow. Hua Jingshen stared at his hand in astonishment, feeling his previously weakened state begin to rejuvenate. The vines on the ground recoiled and vanished as if in fear. Xiao Tian dusted off his hands and declared, Now that the father-son reunion is complete, you two can have a proper conversation. Hua Jingshan was left utterly perplexed. The flower god's offspring, tree's vine, had been dealt with so effortlessly. Where had his son found such a formidable ally? Noticing his father's stunned expression, Huakai Tu quickly called out, Father! The sound of his voice jolted Hua Jingshan back to reality, and a surge of power coursed through him, instantly breaking the bindings that held him. Rising to his feet, Hua Jingshan bowed deeply to Xiao Tian and said, Thank you for saving my life. Xiao Tian simply waved his gratitude away. We're all on the same side, Hua Jingshan thought, momentarily taken aback. Has my son really recruited such a formidable ally so quickly? Shaking off the thought, he decided it didn't matter. The minor details were irrelevant. The urgent matter at hand was the situation in the 100-flower domain. With that in mind, he turned to his esteemed guest and said, This isn't the right place for a conversation. Shall we move to the inner hall? I can have refreshments prepared. Xiao Tian nodded in agreement. Sounds good. Hua Jingshan took the lead, guiding them until they were seated around a dining table. It was only then that Huakai Tu turned to his father. Father, you have no idea what I endured after leaving the 100-flower domain and arriving at the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range. The guardians of the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range were utterly unreasonable. If it hadn't been for Lord Xiao's intervention, I would have met my end at their blades. Upon hearing this, Hua Jingshan rose to his feet and bowed deeply. Esteemed guest, I thank you once again for your timely assistance. Should you ever require anything in the future, please do not hesitate to ask. After expressing his gratitude, Hua Jingshan downed his drink in one swift motion. Xiao Tian waved it off with a smile, dismissing the need for formalities. I came here to save the 100-flower domain, he said. A glimmer of hope sparked in Hua Jingshan's eyes. With your assistance, perhaps the 100-flower domain truly stands a chance. However, the current situation appears to differ significantly from Huakai Tu's earlier description. Please, enlighten me on what has transpired. Hua Jingshan's expression darkened as he began his account. Shortly after we sent Huakai Tu and the others away, the entire 100-flower domain was sealed off. A vast array enveloped the domain, blocking any entry or exit. The domain was engulfed in a golden light, banishing the night forever. This unending illumination brought unforeseen changes. The once protective flower divine ancient tree turned against us, launching a violent rebellion that claimed the lives of our clansmen. Everything changed when a mysterious figure in a black robe emerged. With a mere touch on the ancient tree, he somehow managed to soothe its fury. Initially, we thought we had found salvation, but to our horror, the tribal chiefs and elders were quickly ensnared by the rampant vines, sealing them inside the ancient temple. Those of us city lords with weaker abilities found ourselves bound by the vines of the flower god's offspring tree. Our energy slowly drained away. Meanwhile, our people fell victim to the merciless grip of the vines. We found ourselves trapped in the city lord's mansion, treated like livestock, while the chiefs and elders remained sealed away, their fates uncertain. Long Chu Dao, having absorbed the tale, was left perplexed. He couldn't fathom why the enigmatic figure in the black robe had acted so strangely, or where all the drained energy had gone. Yet, despite his confusion, he was completely absorbed in the feast laid out before him. "This food is absolutely delightful," he remarked, savoring the flavors. "And it's all vegetarian. It's even more savory than meat dishes. I should get Zhang Yangming to learn these recipes." Unbeknownst to him, both Hua Kaitu and Hua Jingxing exchanged glances, their eyebrows raised in a blend of amusement and disbelief. It fell to Long Chu Dao to gently nudge him. "Lord Xiao, it seems this food suits your tastes quite well." Startled, Xiao Tian cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. I was just pondering. How can you be so sure that both the flower divine ancient tree and the flower god's offspring tree were under the control of the figure in the black robe?" Hua Jingxin recalled the scene vividly. When the flower divine ancient tree and the flower god's offspring tree were under the robed figure's influence, they had been enveloped in a shimmering layer of golden light. The patterns dancing in the golden light mirrored those on the golden horns adorning the robed figure's head. "Can you envision the culprit's appearance?" Xiao Tian asked. "Certainly, Lord Xiao. Watch closely." Above Hua Jingxin, flowers began to swirl, channeling spiritual energy that gradually coalesced into a silhouette. After a swift comparison, Puppy turned to Xiao Tian. "Master, it's definitely the ancient god tribe." Xiao Tian couldn't help but snort in disdain. For a tribe with such a grandiose name, their actions were surprisingly petty and trivial. He then turned to Hua Jingxin, his expression serious. "Now that we know the truth, let's eat." "We must be well fed to catch the culprits," Hua Jingxin said, bowing in agreement. "As you say, esteemed guest." Meanwhile, Jing Wuxing, an assassin sent by the mysterious robed figure, lurked in the city. As a professional killer, he thrived in the shadows, striking down his enemies without leaving a trace. Guided by the whispers of the flower divine ancient tree's vines, she sought the so-called supreme benevolent king of hell, Xiao Tian. But where was the offspring tree of this city's flower god? As she looked up, her breath caught in her throat. Was this truly the flower god's offspring tree? Why did it appear so bare and lifeless? As citizens of the Flowerhead tribe strolled by, their voices buzzed with curiosity. "Do you think this supreme benevolent king of hell, deity Xiao Ten, can truly solve our problems?" one asked. "I'm not so sure," another replied, "but he does seem dependable. Have you noticed the flower god's offspring tree? It went bald just trying to impress him." "Indeed, it's a sight we've never witnessed before. This is truly a first." Upon overhearing the conversation, Jing Wuxing couldn't help but smile subtly, thinking to herself, "It seems fate is truly on my side. I never anticipated finding a solid lead so easily. Supreme Benevolent King of Hell, Xiao Tian, enjoy your peace while you can." As night fell, Jing Wuxing activated a secret technique that cloaked her in invisibility. The guards at the entrance remained blissfully unaware of her presence. As she entered the mansion, she gracefully swung her arms, extending her natural black bone blades without a sound. The room was alive with cheerful laughter as a group raised their glasses in a toast. Jing Wuxing quietly stepped into the scene, approaching Xiao Tian from behind, her bone blade poised. "To die painlessly is the greatest kindness I can offer you," she whispered ominously. "Be grateful, Xiao Tian," she thought. Yet, just as she was about to strike, an unsettling feeling stopped her in her tracks. Everything had unfolded too smoothly. From the moment she entered the city and gathered information, she had been swiftly guided to this so-called Xiao Tian. It was clear that someone was pulling the strings. But why? Was this all a ploy to divert her attention? To convince her that Xiao Tian was the primary target? In truth, Long Chu Dao perfectly matches the description my master provided. He's the one working behind the scenes, conducting his investigations without leaving a trace. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian serves merely as a decoy to divert any potential assassins. What a clever ruse. What brilliant misdirection. In an instant, Jing Wuxing turned her attention to Long Chu-dao. Noticing the shift, Xiao Tian cast a concerned glance at Long Chu-dao, leaving her puzzled. Why is Lord Xiao looking at me like that? Without offering an explanation, Xiao Tian simply turned away and chuckled. I've always said it's stay wary of others. Before Long Chu-dao could fully grasp the implications of those words, Jing Wuxing's bone blade lunged forward, slicing through his dragon spirit form. With a thunderous boom, Long Chu-dao erupted, his bewildered question echoing in the room. What the hell is going on? As he slowly began to dissipate, Jing Wuxing couldn't help but marvel at how unexpectedly simple this mission had turned out to be. She quickly activated a teleportation spell, eager to make her escape. But just as she stepped into the circle, a sudden realization hit her. What she had just slain felt insubstantial, not like a creature of flesh and blood. Before she could think any further, a large hand reached in from outside the circle, grabbing her by the shoulder and yanking her out. Caught off guard, Jing Wuxing was thrown to the ground. Xiao Tian firmly planted his foot on her chest, glaring down at her. You dared to harm my Tula, my trusty steward in such a gruesome manner, and you still think you can escape? Before Jing Wuxing could utter a word, an overwhelming pressure gripped her chest, forcing her to cough up blood. Xiao Tian glared at her, his voice cold. I didn't permit you to speak. Trembling, Jing Wuxing understood the gravity of her situation. Hua Jingxin and Hua Kaitu approached, concern etched on their faces. Master, who is she? And what about Elder Long Chu-dao? Xiao Tian offered a reassuring smile. Stay calm. This has nothing to do with you. The guard stood no chance against an assassin of the 20th tier. Before Xiao Tian could utter another word, Long Chu-dao had already reformed himself. Taking a deep breath, he recognized the woman lying on the ground. She was from the Mistblade tribe. Xiao Tian, puzzled, asked, You know her? Long Chu-dao responded, Yes, my lord. The Mistblade tribe is famous for their assassination skills. They possess remarkable talents and are enveloped in a black mist, allowing them to blend seamlessly into the shadows. Additionally, they have unique bone blades that grow stronger as their abilities develop. Even when damaged, these blades gradually heal over time. After listening intently, Xiao Tian pointed at Jing Wuxing and paused. I deliberately refrained from intervening when she attempted to assassinate you, she said, her voice steady. It was meant to teach you a lesson. I've warned you before. Always be cautious of others. You often reassure me that I overthink things, insisting that not everyone in the world has malicious intentions. So, tell me, do you know her? Do you hold any grudges against her? He asked, a hint of disbelief in his voice. I assumed your long life would have granted you some insight into the treacherous nature of people, yet here you are, still so naive. He paused, his tone shifting slightly. Fortunately, this assassin was incompetent. But what if a more skilled killer had come along and reduced peaceful landing city to ashes? Jing Wuxing felt his mental state teetering on the edge of collapse. Xiao Tian was the assassination target her master had mentioned, and his strength was far more formidable than she had anticipated. How dare he claim she wasn't a competent assassin? What kind of professional assassin could unleash their full power and obliterate an entire city with a single aerial strike? That's not an assassin. That's a berserker. In that moment, Xiao Tian's voice echoed through the air. Did you see that? Tears of regret. Long Chu-dao, noticing the glimmer of a tear at the corner of Jing Wuxing's eye, scratched his head in confusion. Master Xiao, what does she regret? He asked. She regrets her lack of skill, came the reply. She's ashamed of tarnishing the reputation of the assassins. But remember, there's an old saying, a prodigal who returns is more precious than gold. Seeing her remorse, he decided to give her a chance. He extended his hand toward Jing Wuxing, but she shouted defiantly, To hell with that! I wasn't aiming for Long Chu-dao. You were my real target. I simply mistook him for you. I am the top-ranking assassin of the Mistblade tribe. You're a fool! Before she could finish her sentence, a sharp sound pierced the air, and blood splattered everywhere. Jing Wuxing's life was abruptly extinguished. Xiao Tian calmly dusted off his hands, unfazed by the chaos around him. Even in her final moments, she attempted to deceive and spread lies. I offered her a chance, and she squandered it. Allowing her to live would have been a grave mistake. However, it was too late. With her dying breath, Jing Wuxing had boldly declared her target, her voice echoing hauntingly within the room. Cold sweat trickled down Long Chu-dao's forehead. This member of the Mistblade tribe certainly had a sharp tongue. Of all the people to insult, she had chosen Master Xiao. Indeed, her end came swiftly. Yet, we may still face the consequences. Hua Jingxian and his son feigned ignorance, pretending they hadn't heard a thing. After a tense silence, Xiao Tian transformed into a monster, a smile creeping across his face. This individual was devious. With her dying words, she sought to slander us, hoping we would act rashly and destroy the evidence. This is an attempt to divert our investigative focus. Do you believe my analysis is correct? Upon hearing Xiao Tian's words, Long Shudao quickly bowed and replied, Master Xiao, your insights are truly remarkable. Moreover, her final words were clearly designed to provoke and infuriate you, hoping to keep her secrets buried forever. We must not be swayed by her deception. Hua Kaitu's eyes widened in disbelief. Is that even possible? He wondered. Elder Dragon Mound, standing beside Master Xiao, truly possessed great wisdom. His words were profoundly insightful. I can't afford to be left behind in this, he thought. With a flash of inspiration, Hua Kaitu added, with my limited knowledge, I would have remained oblivious if not for Master Xiao revealing the plot. Hua Jingxian turned to his son, surprise etched on his face. What's gotten into my son? Hua Kaitu wondered, bewildered. Since when did he start speaking such nonsense? Are they even discussing the same matter? He subtly gestured to his father, urging him to intervene. Father, didn't you hear the assassin insult Master Xiao before her death? Please, say something, anything, to ease Master Xiao's emotions. Noticing the tension, Hua Jingxian quickly chimed in. I feel the same way. Fortunately, I recognized the situation just in time, all thanks to Master Xiao's incredible abilities. A rank 20 powerhouse was effortlessly defeated. Watching their seamless cooperation, Xiao Tian chose not to pursue the matter any further. Instead, he fixed his gaze on the spot where Jing Wuxing's body had vanished. After a moment of silence, Xiao Tian let out a soft sigh. Why did she push me? What purpose does it serve to force me to unleash my suppressed powers? In that instant, Xiao Tian suddenly tapped into his energy. His eyes sharpened, clarity washing over him. So, these are the distinct energy signatures of the 100-flower domain. But why are conflicts brewing beneath the surface over Jing Wuxing's body? Turning to the trio, Xiao Tian resolved to sort the data into his internal system. With the system at his disposal, there was no need to strain himself over analysis. In an instant, a torrent of information flooded into Xiao Tian's internal puppy system, processing the data from the 100-flower domain. Please wait, the system prompted. After a brief pause, it responded. Information received successfully, Master. All set. Rubbing his temples, he sighed. I'm really not good at fully opening my senses to external information. The flood of details is overwhelming, and it's giving me a headache. Thankfully, I have the system to help process it. Xiao Tian began to read aloud. After the members of the Mistblade tribe die, the remaining energy from their flesh and blood is completely absorbed by the roots of the Flower Divine Ancient Tree and the Flower God's Offspring Tree in Peaceful Landing City. Hua Jingxian was taken aback. The Flower Divine Ancient Tree. After our sacred tree was controlled, it sought to devour flesh and blood? Xiao Tian nodded in agreement. Exactly. The extensive root system of this sacred tree stretches across the entire 100-flower domain, constantly siphoning nutrients from the world to strengthen itself. If your ancestors hadn't taken branches from the so-called sacred tree while it was still young and planted them in various cities to compete against it, your tribe would have vanished long ago. Hua Jingxian felt a chill run down his spine. So, the Flower Divine Ancient Tree isn't protecting our Flower God tribe. It's exploiting us? But Master Hua, he tried to reason with himself. From birth, our tribe has been blessed by the Ancient Tree. We've reaped countless benefits. How can this be? Xiao Tian interrupted, a mischievous glint in his eye. Want to know why? He said, placing his hand on Hua Kita's head and abruptly yanking off the flower that had blossomed there. Hua Kita gasped in shock, his hands flying to his head. Why is my head bleeding? Panic washed over Hua Jingxian. Master, in our flowerhead tribe, removing our head flower can be fatal. Blood continued to ooze from the wound, a stark reminder of the gravity of the situation. Hua Keitu stared in bewilderment. Master Xiao, is there something wrong with our tribe's head flowers? From the flower, Xiao Tian extracted a fruit. Eat this, he instructed. Hua Jingxian looked on, dumbfounded. There's a fruit inside my son's head? Flower? But when our tribe members died in the past, their flowers wilted without producing such a fruit. A moment later, a realization struck Hua Jingxian. The Flower Divine Ancient Tree, the offspring of the Flower God, When Master Xiao spoke of exploitation and parasitism, he was referring to this very reality. It's no surprise that the children blessed by the vines, who grow these head flowers, lead healthy lives, while those who aren't blessed face tragic fates. The so-called blessings, the flowers sprouting from our heads are, in fact, parasitic. Are the untimely deaths of unblessed children the work of the flower divine ancient tree, designed to make us believe that only the blessed can thrive without suffering? In that moment, Hua Qitu accepted the fruit, bowing slightly as he said, "Thank you, Master Xiao." Without a second thought, he swallowed it whole. Instantly, intense flames erupted from him, so fierce that even Hua Jingshen found it difficult to withstand their heat. Alarmed, he turned to Xiao Tian and asked, "Master Xiao, what's happening?" Xiao Tian remained composed, replying, "Destruction comes before renewal. Be patient," he urged. It appeared that the blessing of the flower divine ancient tree had indeed drawn from the essence of your tribe. Now that essence was returning. As his words settled, Hua Keichu underwent a remarkable transformation. His hair surged in growth, and a vibrant, unique life force began to emerge from within the flames. It was as if a new and extraordinary life was being nurtured and brought forth. At the same moment, the offspring tree of the flower god unfurled a cascade of new leaves that swirled through the air, enveloping Hua Qitu in a shimmering cocoon. His vitality surged, and moments later the cocoon shattered, revealing a transformed Hua Qitu. His once handsome face now bore a striking new allure, and his entire demeanor radiated an unmistakable change. Moments later, Hua Qitu slowly opened his eyes, leaving Hua Jingxian in awe. "My goodness, is this strikingly handsome young man really my son?" she thought. However, Hua Qitu spoke with a hint of gravity. "Over the years, the interference of the flower divine ancient tree has caused a loss of our lineage's memories." Xiao Tian chuckled. "Interesting. So can you still produce flowers on your head?" Hua Keitu waved his hand, and a flower blossomed atop his head once more. Xiao Tian couldn't help but think, impressive, his natural air purifier is still working. Hua Keitu then revealed to Xiao Tian, "We belong to the flower god tribe. From the fragmented memories, it appears we descended from an ancient, powerful race. We have the ability to cultivate the flower god tree and an innate power to suppress it through our bloodline. Perhaps this explains why the flower divine ancient tree secretly siphoned the essence of our tribe's bloodline." Observing his confident demeanor, Xiao Tian muttered to himself, "I should have waited for the air purification to finish before helping with their recovery. Oh well, at least I can consider it a good deed." With that thought in mind, he gestured for Hua Jingxian to come closer, beckoning her with a finger. "Come, extend your head," someone urged. Soon after, Hua Jingxian experienced a similar transformation. As he observed the Xiao Tian, he exclaimed, "My goodness, is everyone from the flower god tribe this good looking? What a pity." He chuckled, reminiscing about the old flowerhead tribe's unique appearance, especially their ability to purify the air. Turning to Long Chu Dao, he asked, "Have you ever heard of the flower god tribe?" Long Chu Dao shook his head in disbelief. "Never." Xiao Tian pressed on. "Do you really think those who resemble the ancient god tribe came to the 100-flower domain for the flower divine ancient tree, or the flower divine ancient tree, or the flower god tribe?" A look of astonishment crossed Long Chu Dao's face. "Master Xiao, are you implying that the ancient god tribe orchestrated all of this to target you? That's as surprising as the sun rising in the west." In the next moment, Xiao Tian spoke again, his voice steady and resolute. "This ancient god tribe must be dealt with. They dared to send assassins after me and attempted to steal my 100-flower domain, truly despicable. And remember, if they strike you, they strike me as well. So don't worry. Any resentment you feel for their attack, I will settle on your behalf. There's no need for sadness or anger. I've got this." Long Chu Dao felt a wave of overwhelm wash over him. "All right, I spoke too soon. I apologize. It's still Master Xiao's persecution theory, but could we please skip the part where I was attacked?" Just then, Kai Tu chimed in. "Master Xiao, what should we do next?" Xiao Qian pulled out a chair and settled down. "First, transform all members of the Flowerhead tribe and the residents of Peaceful Landing City back to their true forms. You can manage that. Once I've eaten, had a drink, and rested, I'll make my way to the Flower Divine Ancient Tree and keep a close watch on the Flower God's offspring tree." Long Chu Dao nodded. "Understood, Master Xiao. I will document the changes and effects in Peaceful Landing City once the entire Flowerhead tribe is restored to the Flower God tribe, observing the impact on the flower god's offspring tree. Meanwhile, the sacred flower of the flower divine ancient tree radiated a blinding light, its unique power continuously circulating around it. Di Xinlu's face radiated excitement. The divine fruit was finally on the verge of ripening. What a fantastic beginning! Suddenly, the flower divine ancient tree began to rumble ominously. Nearby, the flowerhead tribe chief, Hua Jia, looked on in confusion. The flower divine ancient tree had always been serene, only showing signs of rebellion once before, when it was manipulated by a rogue figure. "Why is it acting up now?" Di Xinlu shouted impatiently, urging it to quiet down. No sooner had he spoken than the flower divine ancient tree ceased its disturbance. A delicate twig extended, gently winding around Di Xinlu's wrist, conveying a message. Taken aback, he realized the shocking truth. Jing Wuxing is dead. Hua Jia stood frozen, stunned by the revelation. Has that fearsome assassin truly lost his life? Is the intruder who suddenly infiltrated the 100-flower domain that powerful? Moments later, Di Xinlu brushed aside a twig from the flower divine ancient tree, pacing anxiously. Has the secret of the flower divine ancient tree's parasitism over the flowerhead tribe been uncovered? Have they finally broken free from their parasitic state and been restored to the flower god tribe? They plan to come and inspect tomorrow? How did this happen? They'll arrive before the divine fruit is ripe. Consuming an immature divine fruit won't enhance my cultivation at all. What a waste. I can't let them disturb its formation. Perhaps I should take the initiative and eliminate them before they get the chance. Despite the risk of worsening his injuries, Di Xinlu knew that consuming a fully cultivated divine fruit could restore him completely. As he contemplated this, he noticed the strange expressions on the faces of Hua Jia and the others nearby. Their eyes were vacant, as if they were in shock. What could possibly be causing this reaction? Just then, a footstep echoed behind Di Xinlu. Xiao Tian took a bite of the divine fruit in his hand and asked, "This fruit is quite tasty. Do you have more?" Di Xinlu was flabbergasted. What on earth was happening? Xiao Tian had somehow appeared behind him, savoring a half-eaten divine fruit. Long Chu Dao, intrigued, asked, "Master Xiao, is the fruit really that delicious?" "Yes, the taste is fantastic. Would you like to try?" Xiao Tian offered pieces of the fruit to both Long Chu Dao and Hua Kai Tu. As they placed the fruit in their mouths, they were instantly overwhelmed by its exquisite flavor, as if they were floating in ecstasy. Suddenly, Xiao Tian broke the blissful silence. "Why is it that after eating this, all I can think about is how delicious it is? I feel nothing else." "It seems to hold great value," Long Chu Dao mused, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "Consuming it should enhance one's strength or fortify the body. However, it's likely not fully matured yet. That's why it's flavorful but lacks any real effects." Xiao Tian raised an eyebrow, taken aback. "But if it tastes this good now, just imagine how mouth-watering it will be when it's ripe." Long Zhou Dao was taken aback. "Master Xiao, shouldn't your focus be on the potential benefits of the fruit when it ripens, rather than its taste?" Just then, a trembling Di Xinlu spoke up. "Didn't you say you'd be coming tomorrow? Why are you here now?" He recognized the man, but how could he possibly be in the 100-flower domain? Of all people, Di Xinlu had witnessed Xiao Dian's incredible power in the starry skies, where a single punch shattered the very rules of the southern wilderness realm. He had vowed to remember this man's face and to never provoke him. Now, however, he felt as if he were staring into the abyss. How had he managed to anger such a formidable figure? Xiao Tian replied with a calm demeanor. "I ate too much tonight, so I decided to take a walk with these two. I didn't expect our stroll to lead us here." Long Zhou Dao and Hua Kai Tu exchanged glances, speechless. "Your walking pace is more like flying," Long Zhou Dao remarked, still trying to catch his breath as the scenery blurred past them. Nearby, the bound Hua She gazed at Hua Kai Tu, the striking green-haired man, a sense of familiarity washing over him. "Why does he feel so close to me?" Xiao Tian took another bite of the divine fruit and turned to Di Xinlu. "Are you from the ancient god tribe?" With a rustling sound, Di Xinlu removed his robe. "I didn't expect you to recognize me." "Indeed, I am from the ancient god tribe. My name is Di Xinlu." He nodded slightly. "Master Xiao, it's an honor to meet you again." Inside, he was in a state of panic. No. I never wanted to see you, monster. Why couldn't you just let me consume the divine fruit in peace? I needed to enhance my abilities and sacrifice the entire 100-flower domain to solidify a strong foundation for our ancient god tribe's revival. Why did you have to ruin my perfect plan? Xiao Tian remained silent, munching on the fruit with loud smacking noises. Di Xinlu cursed inwardly, thinking, "Eat if you must, but do you have to chew so loudly?" Once Xiao Tian swallowed his mouthful, he finally asked, "Have we met before?" Di Xinlu replied, "Indeed, I once saw you from a distance in the southern wilderness realm." With a mere light punch, you shattered the very rules of the southern wilderness realm. It was a moment to remember. Not only that, but you also cleaved a massive section of the southern wilderness space itself. Such power is truly commendable. Hua Jia watched in confusion, wondering if Dai Xinlu had changed. When did he become so articulate? Is slicing through space truly that remarkable? After all, many spatial storage spiritual tools are created by manipulating space. So why is this self-proclaimed member of the ancient god tribe making such a commotion? Di Xinlu quickly donned his robe again, secretly hoping that his flattery would inflate Xiao Tian's ego, buying him precious time. With that momentary distraction, he intended to use the vines of the flower divine ancient tree to crush the heart of the world, triggering a cataclysm that would shatter the entire domain and seal their fates. Grinning to himself, Di Xinlu contemplated showering Xiao Qian with more compliments. But just as he chuckled quietly, Xiao Qian suddenly appeared before him. "What are you laughing about?" he asked, startled. "Nothing," Di Xinlu replied quickly. "Master Xiahou, I'm just genuinely pleased to see you." Xiao Tian's expression shifted, turning serious. "Am I your father?" Di Xinlu's fists clenched in anger. "This is too much. It's an insult. I am of the ancient god tribe, a noble and ancient race of gods. Must you humiliate me like this?" Yet, he had to swallow his pride. Master Xiao is joking. Our races are different. So how can Xiao Tian cut him off? "Since I'm not your father, why are you so pleased to see me? You're hiding something?" he said, his tone laced with skepticism. Dai Xinlu's mind raced. How can he remain so unyielding? Even after receiving praise from a member of the esteemed ancient god tribe, he still exudes caution and suspicion. Will my plans with the flower divine ancient tree be derailed by such a ridiculous question? Fine. If he wants me to acknowledge him as my father, so be it. Let's do this. With that resolve, Di Xinlu dropped to his knees with a thud. "In truth, from the moment I first beheld your magnificence in the southern wilderness realm, I vowed to serve you." As he spoke, Di Xinlu began to kowtow repeatedly, his actions a testament to his sincerity. "I have already accepted you as my adoptive father in my heart, treating you with the same respect I hold for my biological father. If you don't mind, may I call you father?" As Di Xinlu finished his heartfelt speech, a wave of emotion washed over him, making him feel ready to set aside his own dignity for the greater good of the ancient god tribe. Meanwhile, Long Chu Dao, standing nearby, was left utterly speechless. This man is undeniably ruthless. When Zhao Binfu recognized his god-grandfather, it was only after Master Xiao prompted him. Yet this one needed no reminder. He acknowledged it outright. Such decisiveness is admirable. Hua Kai stifled a laugh, pondering whether this seemingly spineless individual is truly the mastermind behind the looming downfall of our 100-flower domain. He shows no shame at all. How could he possibly have controlled the flower divine ancient tree on his own? He seems utterly incompetent. Just then, Xiao Tian suddenly declared, "No, I refuse." Di Xinlu was taken aback. "Why? Do you understand what you're doing? You're turning down an ancient god tribe member who wishes to acknowledge you as his father." Xiao Tian calmly explained, "It's simply because you don't look like a good person." Di Xinlu was taken aback. "What?" she exclaimed, confusion etched on her face. Xiao Tian continued, his expression serious. "It's not my fault. If you want to place blame, direct it at your parents for not giving you a kinder face." Just then, a vine delicately brushed against Di Xinlu's shoulder, adding an unexpected touch to the moment. His heart soared with joy. It was time. He stood up abruptly, waving his hand dismissively. "Never mind. You can have your parents give you a kinder face in your next life. Thanks for giving me the time I needed to control the flower divine ancient tree and shatter the heart of the world. Once the heart of the world shatters, the 100-flower domain will become a desolate wasteland, and you will all be torn apart by the very power contained within it." "Ha ha!" With a mocking laugh, he turned to leave. But after just a few steps, Xiao Tian yanked him back. Di Xinlu, visibly agitated, exclaimed, "Have you lost your mind? Why aren't you saving the remnants of the 100-flower domain? Why did you pull me back? Do you intend for us to die together? Don't tell me you actually believe that the divine weapon you use to slice through space can sever the heart of the world. You're a fool. That will only accelerate the explosion of the heart of the world." Before Di Xinlu could finish his sentence, he caught sight of Xiao Tian gripping the heart of the world of the 100-flower domain, kneading it effortlessly in his palm. Long Chu Dao, standing nearby, was left in stunned silence. Moments later, with the now subdued heart of the world in hand, Xiao Tian turned to Di Xinlu and asked, "What were you saying just now?" A chill ran down Di Xinlu's spine as he came to a startling realization. He had misjudged the situation. It wasn't the power of the slicing knife that bent the rules of heaven and earth to his will. It was his own innate strength that instilled fear in the very fabric of nature. Swallowing hard, Di Xinlu acknowledged his mistake, thinking, "I've truly messed up this time." Resigned to his fate, he lay on the ground, abandoning any hope of resistance. Xiao Tian turned to Long Zhou Dao and remarked, "Who would have thought I could play around with this thing?" Long Zhou Dao looked at him, puzzled. "Master Xiao, when you were needing it just now, wasn't it to compress the heart of the world and stabilize it?" Xiao Tian shook his head. "No, I simply held it in my hand. If it were to explode, it would do so in my hand, and you all would be safe, right?" Xiao Tian suddenly realized that the heart of the world of the 100-flower domain was currently without a master. This was his chance to form a pact with it. Long Zhou Dao watched Xiao Tian's actions, his eyes wide with amazement. "Only you, Master Xiao, could withstand the explosion of the heart of the world with just your hand." Di Shenlu was utterly astonished. What kind of creature is this human Xiao Tian? Is his body truly so resilient that it can withstand the explosion of the heart of the world? Suddenly, a brilliant white light flooded the area as Xiao Tian revealed another heart of the world. Intrigued, Long Zhou Dao stepped closer to him. "Master Xiao, what are you doing?" Xiao Tian looked down, determination etched on his face. "I want to try an experiment." To their horror, he forcefully pressed the two hearts of the world together, rubbing them vigorously. As the two hearts made contact, a terrifying surge of power erupted from within. Those nearby could distinctly feel the cataclysmic energy radiating from Xiao Tian's palms. Soon, the two hearts of the world merged together under Xiao Tian's influence. With great care, he began to shape it, using his fingernails as delicate tools. In no time, the heart of the world transformed into an adorable little figure. In his mind, Xiao Tian silently asked, "Puppy, do you like it?" Puppy's soft voice responded almost instantly, "Thank you, master." "I love it," Xiao Tian said. "If you like it, keep it." With that, the small figure vanished from his hand almost instantly. The skies and earth of the 100-flower domain trembled. The concentration of spiritual energy surged, and in no time, the domain ascended to a higher realm, transforming into a superior domain world. Once he regained his senses, Xiao Tian crouched down, gazing at the serene face of Di Xinlu lying on the ground. With a shattering sound, Di Xinlu's life force flickered out. Countless breaths and energies began to seep into the flower divine ancient tree. Who could have imagined, Di Xinlu thought, that the very energy I once drew from the flower divine ancient tree would be reabsorbed upon my death? You truly are formidable, even described as a defiance of heaven itself. Blood trickled from the corners of his mouth as he fixed his gaze intently on Xiao Tian. "I may not be able to resist someone of your caliber, but a great calamity is approaching. Despite your immense strength, I fear you won't survive it." From the side, Long Zhou Dao interjected, "Are you talking about the martial spirit army that's been relentlessly attacking on the meteor flame battlefield?" "The martial spirit army?" Di Xinlu suddenly erupted into laughter. "Oh, you poor, ignorant child. The martial spirit army is nothing more than cannon fodder. Mere pawns dispatched to their doom as scouts. To label them a great calamity is utterly absurd." With that thought, the light faded from Di Xinlu's eyes, leaving him motionless on the ground. Long Zhou Dao gazed at Di Xinlu's lifeless form, a knot of concern tightening in his chest. "Master Xiao, what should we do?" he asked, his voice heavy with uncertainty. After a moment of contemplation, Xiao Tian turned to Long Zhou Dao and signaled with a decisive hand gesture. "It's nothing to worry about," he assured her. Xiao Tian then reached out, gently caressing Di Xinlu's face, infusing him with a wave of vitality. Di Xinlu smiled blissfully, feeling a warmth that reminded him of his father's touch. "Whose hand is this?" he wondered, lost in the moment. But Xiao Tian felt a chill run down his spine and quickly withdrew his hand. "Why did you stop?" Di Xinlu asked, a hint of confusion in his voice. Before Di Xinlu could respond, he felt a familiar gust of wind and unexpected slap. "Where did that come from? I thought I was dead." In the next instant, a sharp crack resonated through the air, jolting him awake. As he regained his senses, he found himself seated, and Xiao Tian said, "Someone taught me this technique. If someone feigns sleep, a sharp slap is often enough to rouse them. Quite effective indeed." From the sidelines, Long Zhou Dao shot a cold glare at him. "Do you want to die? You really think we'd let you off that easily?" Xiao Tian then turned, his fist clenched tightly as he faced the flower divine ancient tree. "Return his life force. You can't just consume everything, it will harm you in the end." The flower divine ancient tree trembled, reluctantly returning the stolen life force. As the vitality flowed back, Di Xinlu stood in shock. "Oh my god, it's coming back, I don't want it. Take it away." Panic gripped him. "Can I even die on my own terms?" This is so unfair, he muttered, covering his swollen face as he glared at Xiao Tian. Why? Why did you let me die? Why did you have the flower divine ancient tree save me? Xiao Tian gently patted his shoulder. Taking your own life out of guilt isn't a solution. While you might find peace, what about the people of the 100-flower domain whom you've harmed? What about them? Xiao Tian suddenly grasped Di Xinlu's wrist and swiftly snatched away his storage ring. Confusion washed over Di Xinlu's face. Didn't you save me from my intelligence and secrets? Why are you taking my possessions? Xiao Tian replied coolly. Think of these items as fines. I trust you have no objections. Turning to Long Zhou Dao, he inquired, what about the clothes he's wearing? Long Zhou Dao quickly replied, the materials are of high quality and quite valuable. If we unravel and resew them, we could repurpose them into many useful items. Just imagine using such fine materials for the curtains and cabins of the modified Void battleship. Soon, a completely stripped Di Xinlu felt a wave of humiliation wash over him. Inside, he was seething with rage. Why don't you hit me? Attack me? Torture me? He shouted. Xiao Tian shook his head calmly. I can't do that. Why not? Di Xinlu demanded, his voice laced with frustration. Because I'm a good person, Xiao Tian replied, his tone unwavering. At that moment, Di Xinlu's patience snapped. He clenched his hands around his own throat, a desperate gesture of defiance. Even if the laws of the universe prevent my death, I'll find a way to end it myself. With a fierce determination, he twisted his neck, and in an instant, he collapsed to the ground. Xiao Tian, unfazed and calm, turned his gaze toward the ancient flower divine tree. The tree, drenched in sweat, thought to itself, why must I save him again? Here I am, using my original power to preserve life. After transferring its power, Xiao Tian delivered a sharp slap to Di Xinlu's face, jolting him awake. Yet Di Xinlu stubbornly kept his eyes shut, internally screaming, why? Just let me die. Please. Xiao Tian gently patted his shoulder. Don't be like this. It breaks my heart. You caused such chaos in the 100-flower domain, and now you just want to give up. Isn't that a bit excessive? Di Xinlu exclaimed. The flower divine ancient tree had to tap into its original power to save you. So, I've decided to have Long Zhou Dao place you under a slave contract. This way, we can uncover all your secrets, and you won't be constantly trying to end your own life. Isn't that wonderful? As the weight of those words sank in, Di Xinlu felt the energy radiating from Long Zhou Dao. She shot up, her eyes wide with alarm. What exactly do you want? She demanded. Xiao Tian took Di Xinlu's hand and said, I don't ask for much. I run a farm here, and I want to plant the flower divine ancient tree to improve the living conditions for my livestock. All you need to do is tend to the tree. It's not difficult, just fertilize it and care for it. This way, you can atone for your past, and I can create a better environment for my animals. It's a win-win, why not? As those words echoed, a chill ran down Di Xinlu's spine. I am from the noble ancient god tribe, he thought incredulous. You want me to handle dung and fertilize? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Just then, Long Zhou Dao's voice cut through the tension. Seal it! With that command, Long Zhou Dao made his move, attempting to place the slave contract on Di Xinlu's head. However, he soon realized that establishing the contract was impossible. The rank of the ancient god tribe surpassed that of the sacred dragon clan, preventing Long Zhou Dao from subduing and enslaving him. Turning to Xiao Tian, he asked, Master Xiao, what should we do? Xiao Tian paused for a moment, then pointed to the slave contract in his hand. Can I hold this? Xiao Tian asked. Long Zhou Dao nodded and swiftly performed a series of hand gestures, transferring the contract into Xiao Tian's hands. Di Xinlu, watching their exchange, shook his head defiantly. It's useless, he declared. Our racial hierarchy is innate. Unless you possess immense virtue capable of influencing the world's rules, nothing will change. Before he could finish his sentence, Xiao Tian swiftly slapped him, sending Di Xinlu spiraling. The contract was successfully established, leaving him in disbelief. How can this be? Di Xinlu exclaimed. Aren't humans always considered to be of a lower rank? Even if they were of a higher rank, they couldn't possibly enslave me. The ancient god tribe represented a superior existence. Ignoring Di Xinlu's dismay, Xiao Tian turned to Long Zhou Dao and said, See, it worked. You just weren't forceful enough. Next time, put in a bit more effort, all right? Long Zhou Dao fell silent, pondering. Is this really something that can be solved with sheer force? Once again, Xiao Tian had managed to reshape someone's worldview. Di Xinlu, resembling a wronged wife, suddenly pointed at him and shouted, "You're not human. You can't be human." With that, she rose to her feet and invoked a secret technique, the exploration technique. "I want to uncover your true race and understand why it ranks above our ancient god tribe." In an instant, an endless expanse of starry sky materialized around them. Di Xinlu caught a glimpse of shadowy figures looming behind Xiao Tian. Among them was the winged creator dragon god, the ancestors of mankind, traversing the vast lands, and the Taoist, hovering above the heavens and earth. Countless other eerie and menacing entities surrounded them. Overwhelmed by fear, Di Xinlu felt a cold sweat break out across his brow. In the next moment, he coughed up a mouthful of blood, stumbling backward until he finally collapsed to his knees. After a brief pause, Di Xinlu began to speak. "You are actually..." But before he could finish, Xiao Tian snapped his fingers. Instantly, Di Xinlu straightened up, and Xiao Tian pointed to a nearby spot, scolding, "Stop making noise." As the adults engaged in conversation, the children danced nearby. Di Xinlu, feeling as though he had lost control of his own body, stood off to the side and began to move. Internally, he was screaming this was humiliation, pure and simple. Noticing his distress, Xiao Tian snapped his fingers once more, commanding, "Dance with a smile." Instantly, Di Xinlu's expression shifted, and he began to dance with a mischievous grin plastered across his face. Only then did Xiao Tian shift his focus to Hua Jia. The crisis in the 100-flower domain had been fully resolved, and there was no need for further concern. "Thank you, noble sir, for saving our tribe in the 100-flower domain. We cannot begin to repay your immense kindness," Hua Jia declared. The entire Flowerhead tribe bowed in gratitude, their voices rising in unison. "Thank you, noble sir." At that moment, Hua Kuai-tu, standing beside Xiao Tian, suddenly spoke up. "Chief, Sir Zhao's kindness to our tribe is more complicated than you might think." Hua Jia looked puzzled. "Brother, it seems we're not from the same tribe." Hua Kai-tu quickly stepped forward. "Chief, I am Hua Kai-tu. We've met before. You're the son of Hua Jingxian from the Luaning division, right? The one skilled in business?" "Yes, that's me." As those words left his lips, a wave of bafflement washed over the crowd. How had he changed so much? This transformation was nothing short of drastic. Hua Kai too turned to Xiao Tian and offered a respectful bow. "All of this was made possible thanks to Sir Zhao's discovery of our tribe's predicament." The flower divine ancient tree trembled, aware that its secret of parasitically attaching itself to the flower god tribe was on the verge of being revealed. After hearing Hua Kai-tu's explanation, shock rippled through the crowd. How could this be possible? They wondered. Xiao Tian simply smiled and waved his hand. "Now that you know the truth, come forward and face the consequences." Moments later, everyone was horrified as blood sprayed from their heads. Long Chu Dao couldn't help but ask, "Sir Xiao, if I'm not mistaken, wouldn't it have been easier to let the flower divine ancient tree handle this?" Xiao Tian shook his head with a smirk. "It's more fun and relieving for me to do it myself." Long Chu Dao was left speechless, thinking to himself, "Just like you, Sir Xiaowei. Your perspective is truly one of a kind." Meanwhile, the members of the Flowerhead tribe underwent a transformation, gazing at themselves in astonishment. Gradually, they composed themselves and bowed deeply to Xiao Tian, addressing him as Sir Xiahou. "You have done so much for our tribe. From this moment on, both the Flower God tribe and the entire 100-flower domain will serve you and follow your lead." Xiao Tian stepped forward with determination. All right. From now on, we're all on the same side." Hua Jie inquired, "Sir Xiao, what are your plans moving forward?" With a confident smile, Xiao Tian replied, "Your primary task now is to help everyone return to the Flower God tribe. After that, I'll merge you with the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range, and then we'll bring the Holy Demon Domain into the fold. You, the Flower God tribe, will be responsible for cultivating the Flower God tree and stabilizing the chaotic spiritual energy generated by the mixed domains. Do you understand?" A stunned silence fell over the crowd. What was Sir Xiao trying to accomplish? Did he intend to merge the domains until they erupted in chaos? Hua Jia, hesitating for a moment, finally spoke up. "Sir Xiao, when you mention merging the domains, do you mean to clear the void navigation routes? Are you suggesting that this will make them more interconnected and allow the two domains to communicate?" Xiao Tian shook his head, dismissing the notion. "No, that's not it. Let me show you." He then turned to Long Chu Dao. "Are there any world fragments left in the Holy Dragon Relic?" Without hesitation, Long Chu Dao responded, "There are a few less than attractive world fragments remaining. Which one would you prefer, Sir Xiao?" Xiao Tian took a moment to ponder his options. Whether its appearance is appealing or not is beside the point. Its style simply doesn't suit our needs. Let's choose the one from Decade Land. It's ideal for planting trees. Upon hearing this, Long Chu Dao bowed slightly, understanding Sir Xiao's intent. Please, take it. As soon as the words left his lips, a fragment of the world materialized in Xiao Qian's hand. Waving the fragment in his hand, Xiao Tian addressed the crowd. See this? This is a world fragment I've compressed. Now, let me show you what it truly means to merge domains. He paused for dramatic effect before continuing. First, you need to tear a rift in your current domain. With the swift motion of his hand, a shimmering rift materialized in the air before them, like this. Although the domain hadn't fully merged yet, Xia Tian decided to crush the world fragment and toss it into the rift, allowing it to absorb and fuse on its own. As he spoke, he crumbled the fragment and sent it flying into the rift. Thunderous sounds erupted from within. See? If the fusion process takes too long, I can always seal the rift manually, he added, a hint of confidence in his voice. In this way, the two domains began to merge seamlessly, giving rise to a new continent that showcased the starkly contrasting landscapes on either side. The members of the Flowerhead tribe stood in utter astonishment, their mouths agape in disbelief. Seizing the moment, Long Chu Dao remarked, Sir Xiao, it seems your skills have improved even further. Brushing the dust from his hands, Xiao Tian replied, while gathering information and observing the 100-flower domain, I picked up some new techniques related to merging domains. Sometimes, one must truly appreciate the significance of continuous learning and growth. Turning to face the crowd, he asked, Now, do you understand what I meant by merging them together? Stammering, Hua Jia replied, Sir Xiao, you are truly remarkable. Just then, Hua Kai Tu interjected. By the way, Sir Xiao, how should our 100-flower domain approach the mysterious Wealth Mountain range? Should we compress it into a tiny crystal ball as well? Xiao Qian mused. After a moment of contemplation, he decided we can give it a try. Half an hour later, a brilliant streak of light sliced through the sky. Everyone stood beneath a protective shield, their eyes wide with astonishment as the 100-flower domain above them began to compress. Once again, they found themselves in utter shock. It truly were. Meanwhile, in the palace's main hall during the morning assembly, Zhong Li Shuang knelt before Ziru Yuan. Your Majesty, the armies of the Great Flame Dynasty and the Primordial Demon Kingdom are fully assembled and ready to reinforce the Meteor Flame battlefield. With the Empress leading the charge and the support of the Elder Statesman, we are destined for victory in this expedition. Ziru Yuan replied with a composed demeanor. As I personally lead the reinforcements to the Meteor Flame battlefield, I entrust the Great Flame Dynasty to your care. Zhong Li Shuang immediately responded. Rest assured, Your Majesty, I will manage the affairs of the court diligently. Ziru Yuan nodded, then rose to his feet and declared, In 3 days, we march to the Meteor Flame battlefield. As soon as Ziru Yuan stepped into her study, an irritating voice chimed in. Oh, isn't this our beloved niece, Ziru Yuan? Given the current family ties, with your father and brother Xiao now sworn brothers, shouldn't you be calling brother Xiao uncle? Luo Fengyan lounged at the desk, legs crossed and a playful smirk on his face. Ziru Yuan shot back, her irritation palpable. Back off. As soon as Ziru Yuan stepped into her study, an irritating voice chimed in. Oh, isn't this our beloved niece, Ziru Yuan? Given the current family ties, with your father and brother Xiao now sworn brothers, shouldn't you be calling brother Xiao uncle? Luo Fengyan lounged at the desk, legs crossed and a playful smirk on his face. Ziru Yuan shot back, her irritation palpable. Back off. Lord Xiao was reckless back then. Why are you indulging in his nonsense? She said, slapping Luo Fengyan's foot away. He feigned pain, exclaiming, Ouch, that hurt. Shi Ruyan took a seat, her irritation bubbling to the surface. You had it coming, she replied, shaking her head. I just don't understand. It was one thing for Lord Xiao and Wang Qiudao to stir up trouble in the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range, but why had he chosen to become sworn brothers with my father? As Luo Fengyan fanned the flames of the situation, he remarked, If they're sworn brothers, then brother Xiao is indeed your uncle, which makes me your auntie, dear niece. Irritated by the unfolding drama, Shi Ruyan picked up a report and retorted, Whatever, what does our relationship even matter? At worst, my father might attempt to confront Lord Xiao in the end, but I won't intervene. Honestly, he wouldn't stand a chance against him. For now, I need to concentrate on this report. Everything else can wait. Suddenly, Luo Fengyuan spoke up. I wonder how Brother Xiao is faring. Shi Ruyan replied reassuringly, There's no need to worry. Lord Xiao is a formidable force on his own, especially with the backing of Elder Dragon Mound. Even my father remarked that, with their support, Lord Xiao has already decimated the Jia family from the mysterious Wealth Mountain range. Upon hearing this, Luo Fengyuan couldn't help but laugh. It's true, with Elder Dragon Mound at his side, we have no reason to worry about Brother Xiao's safety. I never anticipated the Elder Dragon Mound to possess such immense power. Brother Xiao is truly fortunate to have discovered the Holy Dragon Relic and to be guided by such a formidable elder. 3 days later, in the vast expanse above the Holy Demon Domain, a colossal flying ship glided through the sky. At the bow, Shi Ruyuan stood resolute, her sword aimed directly at the meteor flame battlefield. As the unified chants of the crowd echoed, "Defeat the martial spirit army! Save Lord Esteemed Purple Emperor!" The flying ship surged forward with determination. Meanwhile, high above the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range, Xiao Tian floated serenely, a protective shield shimmering behind him. Members of the Flowerhead tribe exchanged hushed whispers, speculating on how Lord Xiao intended to merge the 100-flower domain with the mysterious mountains below. Will it be similar to what we've seen, a direct collision and fusion? Shh, quiet down. Lord Xiao is about to begin. As they whispered, Xiao Tian casually waved his hand, causing the miniaturized 100-flower domain to shift and expand, drifting toward the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range. Suddenly, Puppy chimed in. "Master, for the 100-flower domain to strike at this angle." It was crucial to reach this point. However, Xiao Tian knew he had to take matters into his own hands. If the two domains collided without proper preparation, they would shatter. "I understand," he replied. Turning to the others, he added, "Stay here and don't move. I'll be right back." With that, he slowly advanced, clutching the 100-flower domain tightly. Not far away, Di Xinlu nervously bit her finger, her thoughts racing. It felt as if everything was on the brink of breaking. If they collided head-on like this, an explosion was inevitable. Long Chu Dao shot him a glare, urging him to stop talking nonsense. Just then, the two domain worlds finally collided. A blinding white light erupted, illuminating the entire void. In that moment of darkness, the two vast domains began to merge, their fates intertwining. Hua Kai Tu, Long Chu Dao, and the others stood in the void, intently watching the fusion process unfold. As the merging began, turbulent currents surged violently around them, causing their protective shields to crack under the pressure. Suddenly, Hua Kai Tu delivered a sharp slap to Di Xinlu's head. "What are you staring at? Get to work!" Di Xinlu seethed with anger, her glare directed resentfully at Hua Kai Tu. Unfazed, Hua Kai Tu shot back, "What are you glaring at? Lord Xiao asked you to protect us." With a reluctant sigh, Di Xinlu began to gather her spiritual energy. A radiant golden light, imbued with divine intent, swiftly enveloped everyone, shielding them from the turbulent currents. At last, with their minds eased, they all focused intently on what lay ahead. "Lord Xiao, please be cautious. We mustn't shatter the two domain worlds. If these superior domains merge, could they create an entirely new superior existence?" Thankfully, there was no sound of collision. Instead, the barriers of the two continents began to gradually blend together. Like merging bubbles, the spectacle before Di Xinlu captivated him, causing him to forget all about maintaining his shield. It was a sight he would carry with him for the rest of his life. Suddenly, Long Chu Dao delivered a sharp slap to the back of Di Xinlu's head. "Focus on the shield," he chided. "This is just basic operation for Lord Xiao. Don't overreact." Quickly, Di Xinlu reinforced the shield, but inside, he was in a state of panic. Everything had spiraled out of control. When the powerful elders of our ancient god tribe attempted something like this, they were swiftly eliminated by the very rules of the two domain worlds. I never anticipated it would come to this. It's complete chaos. At that moment, a muffled bell echoed, heralding the birth of a new superworld in the void. The chaotic turbulence gradually subsided, revealing a domain world several times larger than before, standing silently in the emptiness. Suddenly, Xiao Tian materialized beside them, declaring, "Mission accomplished. Let's go inside and take a look." Before they could respond, he seized their hands and dove down into the unknown. As they entered, they noticed that many members of the Flowerhead tribe were already hard at work purifying spiritual energy. Xiao Tian's expression brightened with satisfaction. "Good, they're being proactive. I'm pleased. The 100-flower domain and the mysterious Wealth Mountain range have successfully merged, and you've also begun the process of cleansing the murky spiritual energy. Next, I will initiate the merging of the Holy Demon Domain. However, this calls for a new name for our domain world. As Xia Qian contemplated, Long Shu Dao interjected, "What should we call it?" Reflecting on the two empresses, Xiao Tian suggested, "Since this entire domain is co-managed by empresses, let's simply name it the Empress Domain." As he spoke, the heavens and earth resonated in harmonious agreement. Golden lights and auspicious clouds enveloped them. Adorable golden figures tooted their horns while sprites danced around Xiaotian, showering him with flowers. The words Empress Domain materialized above the world barrier, etched into the sky, before slowly fading away. Di Xinlu stood in stunned silence, wondering, is this truly the illegitimate child of the heavens? Satisfied that the task was complete, Xiaotian stretched, yawned, and said, "All right, you all continue your work in the Empress Domain." "All right," he said. "Together with Long Chu Dao and Di Xinlu, we'll make our way to the Holy Demon Domain." He patted Huaka on the shoulder and gave him a thumbs up. "Keep it up. Work until you drop, but don't drop dead." The members of the Flowerhead tribe were energized, determined not to let Lord Xiao down. Moments later, Xiao Tian, Long Chu Dao, and Di Xinlu set off on their journey. As they departed, Hua Jia addressed his tribe. "Though the 100-flower domain is lost to us, a bright future is on the horizon." The tribe members responded with enthusiasm, declaring, "Yes, we've returned to our roots, even stronger than before." Meanwhile, high above, Sha Tian instructed Long Chu Dao, "Take him to the Great Flame Mountain Farm. He needs to get acquainted with manure management and establish some formations to detect any approaching threats from the ancient god tribe. If they ever try to sneak up on us, an alarm will be triggered," Di Xinlu thought, a realization dawning on him. Is he just using me as bait to capture the ancient god tribe? How cunning. Long Q Dao turned to Lord Xiao and asked bluntly, "Are you fishing? What are you talking about?" Xiao Tian shot back, "I'm just taking precautions." "Never mind," Long Chu Dao replied, sensing the tension in the air. "No more explanations. I'm off to see Zhou Nianming for food." As Xiao Tian walked away, Long Chu Dao observed him with a hint of amusement. Lord Xiao can be so impulsive and gluttonous at times. He then turned to Dai Xinlu, his expression cold. "Come on, Lord Xiao has given his orders. Don't even think about trying anything." Bound by a slave contract, Di Xinlu found himself with no room for resistance. Upon arriving at Great Flame Mountain, he was taken aback. The mountain itself was formed from the remains of an emperor-level holy dragon. Was this premium-grade feed really being used to cultivate livestock and vegetables here? What a waste. It was then that Long Chu Dao explained, "What's so strange about that? This holy dragon died protecting others. Offering it a place to rest is the best way to honor its sacrifice." Lord Xiao is truly a kind-hearted person, Di Xinlu chuckled, disbelief evident in her voice. "Do you even hear yourself? I was stripped by Xiao Tian, and now I'm left with nothing but a cloak. Being humiliated like this and you still call him kind-hearted?" Long Chu Dao remained silent, merely gesturing for her to follow. "Let's go." Soon, the two of them spotted members of the Bloodroom clan gathered around a table. Di Xinlu narrowed his eyes, sensing something amiss. These martial spirit army members lacked the familiar aura of any realm, yet the power radiating from them was more ferocious than that of typical body cultivators. They were larger than anyone he had encountered before, and an unmistakable tension hung in the air between the two groups. Their clothes even bore the message, "Reform and become a better person." Just then, Dai Xinlu's gaze fell upon a piece of paper on the table. Curiously, he picked it up and read, "Great Flame Honor Toy Group." What could this note mean? Before he could ponder further, a man suddenly slammed his hand down on the table. It was Zhang Wuxuan, his finger jabbing angrily at another man as he shouted, "Zhang Jiji, you can't confront me directly!" "So, you've learned to operate from the shadows, have you? Do you even realize you've crossed a line?" Zhang Wuxuan accused, his voice laced with frustration. "It was our second group that allowed the Great Flame Pigs to roam free on Mountain Number 5. Since we let them loose, it's our responsibility to round them up. Why is your first group stepping in? If you hadn't broken the rules, our second group would have emerged victorious this time." Zhang Jiji replied with a hint of disdain. "Intervene. Let's not forget, we're here to atone and reform. If your second group hadn't been so lazy, our first group wouldn't have to step in. You know very well that when the Great Flame Pigs are let loose, it's their peak excretion time. Instead of sending people to work right away, you prioritize meal shifts. Does your second group even deserve this task?" Remember, if it doesn't kill you, work until you drop. You're just making excuses. Zhang Wuxuan retorted sharply. You're only worried that our second group will outshine your first. Outshine? Please, Zhang Wuxuan, have some shame. You've only won twice in the evaluations. Do you really think our first group is afraid of yours? Whether you're scared or not, you know the truth. Di Xinlu was baffled. What exactly were their evaluation criteria? A martial arts contest? And what was the connection to pigs? Long Qiudao clarified that their assessments were rooted in pig farming. But that wasn't all. They also evaluated skills in raising cattle, sheep, chickens, ducks, fish, and even planting fruits and vegetables. There were also tasks like cleaning manure and maintaining the environment. Di Xinlu was taken aback. So, all their fiery passion and readiness to fight stemmed from the fact that the other group raised pigs better than they did? Did this mean he wasn't really bait after all? Had Xiaotian genuinely brought him here just to shovel dung? Long Qiudao glanced at him, a puzzled expression on his face. Why are you crying? Trembling, Di Xinlu longed to flee but found herself rooted to the spot. Just then, the bickering Zhang Jiji and Zhang Wuxuan caught sight of them. Zhang Wuxuan rushed over, concern etched on his face. Lord Dragonmound, what brings you here? Does Lord Qiao have any new instructions for us? Zhang Jiti, shoving Zhang Wuxian aside, approached with a bow and a forced smile. Lord Dragonmound, I sincerely apologize for the quarrel you had to witness earlier. Long Qiudao dismissed the concern with a wave. It's all right. Both of your recent performances have been commendable, and Lord Xiao has taken notice. Otherwise, he wouldn't have shared the special martial art technique, the Golden Turtle Shield, with you. Jing Jiji replied with enthusiasm. It's truly an honor to learn the Golden Turtle Shield. This is not just a sign of Lord Zhao's acknowledgement. It's also a crucial step on our path to atonement. By mastering this technique, our bodies will grow stronger, enabling us to serve you better. Not to be outdone, Zhang Wuxuan shoved Zhang Jiji aside. Lord Dragonmound, the essence of our journey isn't merely about practicing martial arts. Throughout our atonement, we've come to understand our mistakes deeply within our hearts. Simply exerting brute strength won't bring peace to those who died in battle, Zhang Zheshi said, shaking his head in disagreement. What nonsense. Without giving your all, do you even have the right to call it atonement? Have you forgotten what Lord Zhao said? Cleanse the soul with sweat. Zhang Wuxuan, clearly fed up, shot back with a hint of sarcasm. Your so-called sweat probably just cools the hair on your body. It doesn't cleanse any soul, Zhang Zheshi said with a sly smirk. Are you jealous of my thick hair because you're balding? Have you resorted to beating around the bush to attack others now? The tension between them was palpable. Observing the confrontation, Long Qiudao interjected. All right, competition is healthy. It shows spirit, but let's not allow it to interfere with our work. This, he said, gesturing toward Di Xinlu, is the new guy. He may be powerful, having reached the pinnacle of the 20th rank, but he made a mistake and is here to face his punishment. From now on, he will be in charge of handling the manure. You two will take turns guiding him each day. Ensure he becomes proficient at this task quickly. Understood? Both Zhang Wuxuan and Zhang Jiji responded with enthusiasm. Long Qiudao gave Di Xinlu an approving pat on the shoulder. Work hard and reform yourself, he encouraged. The members of the Blood Rune clan erupted in cheers, welcoming their new ally. Join us on the path of atonement. We're thrilled to have another comrade dedicated to recognizing our mistakes and striving for righteousness. Let's give a round of applause. Di Xinlu stood utterly dumbfounded. Is this truly the Blood Rune clan, renowned for their relentless battles and fierce rise through the ranks? Moments later, he was led to a mountain, where he was greeted by piles of pig manure scattered everywhere. Overwhelmed, he exclaimed, "At least give me some clothes and tools for cleaning up this mess. This is too much!" Feeling utterly defeated, he lamented, "I've brought shame upon the noble ancient god tribe. I'm worthless." Meanwhile, Zhang Wuxuan and Zhang Jiji, watching from a distance, misinterpreted his emotional turmoil. They glanced at Di Xinlu, who was deeply engrossed in his work, tears of regret streaming down his face. It appeared he was experiencing profound realizations. With his rapid progress, it seemed likely that the Great Flame Mountain would soon have a third team, and he would undoubtedly emerge as a formidable competitor. Elsewhere, at the Prime Minister's residence, a grand feast was in full swing. Officials engaged in lively conversation when, with a sudden whoosh, Xiao Tian materialized at the table. "I've just arrived, and already I can smell the food. Perfect timing," he remarked with a grin. Zhang Yangming, seated beside him, blinked in surprise. "Prince, you back?" "Yes, I am. I took care of some business," he replied with a hint of excitement, "and I have a little surprise for our emperor. Soon the spiritual energy across our domain will flow effortlessly. The vast lands of Great Flame will be so much more enjoyable." Xiao Tian beamed with pride, but his smile faltered as he noticed an elderly, chubby man standing nearby, grinning at him. He leaned in closer and whispered to Zhong Yangming, "Who is this gentleman? Is he a new official?" Zhong Yangming replied candidly, "That's the Empress's grandfather." Xiao Tian nearly spat out his drink in surprise. The elderly man, Shui Fugi, gently patted Xiao Tian on the back. "Take it slow, no need to rush," he advised. Xiao Tian stared at him in astonishment, processing the revelation. Shui Fugi continued to smile warmly. "So, you're the man I've heard so much about but never had the pleasure of meeting. The son-in-law I've grown increasingly fond of with each tale. My dear boy, your reputation truly precedes you. Supreme Benevolent Sugar Baby Deity. What an endearing title." A metaphorical rock seemed to drop onto Xia Tian's head. "Why is it still that title? Supreme Benevolent King of Hell Deity. The name you mentioned sounds anything but majestic." Xiao Tian struggled to maintain his composure. "This is my wife's grandfather, so technically he's mine too. I can't afford to lose my temper. He's not teasing me. He simply prefers this old-fashioned title." Regaining his composure, Xiao Tian raised his glass. "Cheers, grandfather." Sui Fugui mirrored the gesture. "To the Supreme Benevolent King of Hell Deity." Xiao Tian was taken aback. "How do you know that title?" he asked cautiously. "Were you by any chance at the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range at some point?" Shui Fugi nodded. "Yes, little Xiao. I was in the city of Mysterious Wealth Mountain." Panic began to rise in Xiao Tian's heart. "Please, let him not be the one I saved back then." He glanced at Shui Fugi, noting he bore no resemblance to his wife or her grandfather. "Even if we became sworn brothers, surely that should be enough to keep me safe, right?" With a mix of apprehension and curiosity, Xiao Tian tentatively probed further. "You came back alone, didn't you? Just happened to stumble upon the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range?" Zhong Yangming struggled to suppress his laughter at the awkwardness of the moment. "I can't laugh. If I do, Xiao Tian will definitely kill me. I must hold it together." Shui Fugui, unable to resist a grin, replied, "Actually, I didn't return alone. I returned with Shi Ruyan's grandmother and her parents in tow. Our arrival at the mysterious Wealth Mountain Range was no mere coincidence." A sinking feeling settled in Xiao Tian's stomach as he thought, "Please, let it not be what I fear. The man I rescued and vowed brotherhood with can't possibly be connected to this." Shui Fugi continued, "Without your help, my son-in-law, your father-in-law, would never have escaped from the heavenly palace." Distraught, Xiao Tian murmured, "I remember saving someone named Zhou Shintong from the heavenly palace. Could it be that I didn't find my father-in-law after all? I'd rather convince myself I've mistaken him for someone else than accept that Zhou Shintong is truly my father-in-law. Yet reality can be unforgiving." With a playful smile, Shui Fugui chimed in, "Little Xiao, don't be too hard on the esteemed Purple Emperor. Back then, he was wary of your intentions, fearing you might have hidden motives. To protect himself, he employed a secret technique to alter his appearance and took on the name Zhou Shintong." As the truth began to sink in, a haunting melody played in Xiao Tian's mind, and he cried out in despair, "No, this can't be happening." His thoughts spiraled into chaos. Xiu Fugi chuckled softly, attempting to offer some comfort. "Don't take it to heart, my boy. Your father-in-law is truly grateful to you. After all, you were the one who saved him. As for the misunderstandings, let's leave them in the past. Now, come on, don't just stand there in a daze. Eat up. You're young, and you need to nourish your body." Zhou, the Prime Minister, mentioned that you enjoy the dishes he prepares, but Xiao Tian hardly registered his words. His mind was consumed by the revelation that Zhou Shintong was none other than the esteemed Purple Emperor. The thought of his father-in-law bonding so jovially with him only added to his distraction. Noticing Xiao Tian lost in thought and even drooling slightly, Sui Fugui quickly called out, "Little Xiao, snap out of it." Xiao Tian snapped back to reality. Suddenly realizing the reason behind his distress, he had another father-in-law. Overwhelmed, he slapped his forehead in despair. Watching Xiao Tian's turmoil, Sui Fugui struggled to hold back his laughter. Truly, the younger generation is a delight to tease, especially when they're as formidable as this one. It was an exhilarating moment. Behind him, Zhong Yangming struggled to suppress his laughter, reminding himself that if he let even a chuckle slip, Xiao Tian would surely put an end to it. To break the awkward silence, Xiao Tian spoke up. "By the way, where is the Empress? She must be overjoyed to know her parents are back, right?" Zhong Yangming quickly replied with a smile. Naturally, the Empress is overjoyed. However, she isn't in the palace at the moment. She left with Empress Luo Fengyuan. Just mentioning Luo Fengyuan made Zhong Yangming stifle a laugh, his face flushing with amusement. After taking a deep breath, he continued. Right now, the Empress is on her way to the Meteor Flame battlefield, accompanied by Empress Luo Fengyuan, the former emperor, her mother, and her grandmother, all led by Dragon Mound. They were on a mission to rescue the holy demon emperor Luo Taoqian. At the mere mention of his name, Zhong Yangming couldn't contain himself and erupted into laughter. Lord Xiao is truly remarkable. Not only did he save two fathers-in-law, but he also swore brotherhood with both of them. Xiao Tian shot him a glare. Did you just laugh? Zhong Yangming quickly attempted to regain his composure. I just felt a cold chill. Xiao Tian raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing on his lips. After all the martial training we've done together, you still feel a chill? Is it when I leave that your training falters and your health declines? Grinding his teeth, Xiao Qian declared, in that case, I'll personally train you later. We'll see if you're truly weak. Zhong Yangming, realizing he was in for some intense training regardless, let out a hearty laugh right in Xiao Tian's face. This only made Xiao Tian's expression twitch with annoyance. By the way, Zhong Yangming continued, why didn't you mention that Empress Luo's father is out of danger? Wasn't that trip completely unnecessary? Zhong Yangming chuckled, shaking his head. Prince, how can I speak the truth when you remain silent? Besides, with the tensions rising on the Meteor Flame battlefield and the Martial Spirit Army making continuous moves, we really should reinforce our troops there. As he contemplated the impending meeting with both his fathers-in-law, Xiao Tane couldn't help but feel a wave of despair wash over him. Both were saved by him, becoming his sworn brothers, and they knew him by his revered title, the Supreme Benevolent King of Hell. It felt like a legendary yet awkward social gathering. Then, Zhong Yangming spoke up. Lord, while reinforcing the Meteor Flame battlefield to aid the Holy Demon Emperor, could we also train our troops to acclimate them to the combat conditions in preparation for the Great Catastrophe? Do you think the so-called catastrophe could be a full-scale attack by the Martial Spirit Army? Regaining his composure, Xiao Tian lifted his chopsticks. The Martial Spirit Army is certainly a concern, he replied, but they aren't the great catastrophe. They're merely cannon fodder. At that moment, Long Chu Dao entered the room. Lord Xiao, everything is arranged. Xiao Tian nodded in acknowledgement. Long Chu Dao stepped forward, pouring a glass of wine for Xiao Tian. He turned to Zhong Yangming, revealing a startling truth. The true enemy might be the puppet master orchestrating the Martial Spirit Army, manipulating all the tribes from the shadows. Zhong Yangming blinked in astonishment. You mean to say that such a formidable Martial Spirit Army is merely cannon fodder? Who told you that? Have you ever heard of the ancient god tribe? Zhong Yangming's expression shifted to one of surprise. You've heard of them? He asked, intrigued. Without missing a beat, Long Chu Dao replied, of course you haven't. This tribe... Wait, you actually know about them? Zhong Yangming shook his head in disbelief. I've lived for so long and never encountered the ancient god tribe. Where did you learn of them? I came across their name in the southern wilderness realm, Zhong Yangming admitted, his curiosity piqued. Aren't there numerous ruins in that area? I've unearthed some artifacts myself. Also, Lord Shaho, the legacy scriptures you once acquired, weren't they from the ancient god tribe? I recall ancient structures discovered there, predating even the Great Flame Empire. The inscriptions spoke of eternal blessings and mentioned the ancient gods. I believe those references point directly to the ancient god tribe. As he spoke, a realization washed over Zhong Yangming. You didn't encounter any living members of the tribe, did you? Both men nodded in response, eager to elaborate. They have golden horns atop their heads, adorned with peculiar patterns. Their strength is formidable, complemented by flowing golden hair and intricate gold inscriptions on their skin. They are masters of various secret arts, capable of absorbing souls and manipulating the elements. Sui Fugi gasped in surprise. So, they hail from the ancient god tribe. My son-in-law was ruling peacefully as the emperor of the Great Flame Dynasty when he unexpectedly clashed with the chief disciple of the Eastern Flame Kingdom and the Astral Pavilion. It appears that the ancient god tribe was manipulating the Eastern Flame Kingdom at that time. The chief disciple of the Astral Pavilion had secretly infiltrated the Great Flame Dynasty for reasons unknown, only to be uncovered by my son-in-law. This pursuit stemmed from their desire for revenge, leading them to target both him and Shueruyen. After parting ways with the Shui family, we headed directly to the southern wilderness realm. There, we witnessed the barbarian Jiasu fall victim to the ancient god tribe's formidable skills. It seems that after ambushing my daughter and son-in-law, they ventured into barbarian territory. However, we remain uncertain if the member of the ancient god tribe you encountered is the same one we are familiar with. Upon hearing this, Long Zhou Dao paused, contemplating whether it was indeed the same individual. After his confrontation with the former emperor in the southern wilderness realm and his infiltration of the barbarian ranks to eliminate Jia Su, he had witnessed Lord Zhao's incredible feat shattering universal rules with a single punch and slicing through the very fabric of the southern wilderness realm with his blade. Did they then head to the 100-Flower Domain? As he pondered this, Long Zhou Dao turned to Xiao Tian and said, Lord Xiao, I suspect that Di Xinlu's journey to the 100-Flower Domain is merely a diversion. His true intention is to track down the great flame dynasty that you severed and took with you. A faint smile crossed Xiao Tian's lips. Things are starting to get interesting. Zhang Yangming appeared taken aback. You went to the 100-Flower Domain? Yes, came the reply. We took a detour to address the situation with the Flowerhead tribe. During our journey, we uncovered that the Flowerhead tribe is, in fact, the Flower God tribe. We successfully freed the ancient flower divine tree from its parasitic hold on them. Wei Fugi was utterly perplexed. It was truly bizarre. By all accounts, the 100-Flower Domain and the southern wilderness realm were supposed to be remote fringes of the myriad worlds. How could there be so many valuable treasures here? Ancient relics of the Flower God tribe and the legendary Flower Divine ancient tree. This was nothing short of extraordinary. Xiao Tian pondered the existence of these ancient entities, and the fact that even the long-lived Long Zhou Dao was unaware of them. Could it be that this seemingly remote location was, in fact, the true core realm? Sui Fugi swiftly dismissed the notion. That's highly unlikely, he replied. If this were the core realm, it wouldn't be so devoid of spiritual energy and resources. Moreover, the meteor flame battlefield is situated here. He cast a glance at Long Zhou Dao. The fragments of the world surrounding the core realms should be more abundant. Long Zhou Dao nodded in agreement. Indeed. And we can't communicate with the upper realms from this location. It simply doesn't align with the characteristics of a core realm. As Zhang Yangming listened to their conversation, he felt completely adrift. Can't we interrogate the captured member of the ancient god tribe? He asked, a hint of desperation in his voice. Long Zhou Dao immediately shook his head. It's not possible. His soul is sealed. We won't get any answers from him. We've already sent him to the Great Flame Breeding Grounds. We've established formations around him to trap any of his kin that might come looking for him, one of the strategists explained. Hearing this, Zhong Yangming quietly inquired, what tasks are assigned to this member of the ancient god tribe now that we're at the Great Flame Breeding Grounds? The Flower Divine ancient tree requires fertilization, Long Zhou Dao replied, gesturing as if shouldering a heavy load. He was there to learn about fertilization. Understanding washed over Zhang Yangming. Just then, Xiao Qian suddenly asked, Grandfather, what did the ancestor of the Shui family want with my father-in-law? If it was just for his bloodline, it seems unnecessary. Could there be other hidden schemes at play? Both Yang Yangming and Long Zhou Dao felt a surge of alarm, thinking, here it comes, the paranoia. Both of them anxiously turned their gazes to Shui Fugui, hoping he would dispel Xiao Tian's suspicions. With a heavy sigh, Shui Fugui patiently clarified that the ancestor of the Shui family sought more than just a bloodline. He was interested in the connections tied to the emperor's lineage. By gaining control over their family, he aimed to have the esteemed Purple Emperor, once matured, leverage the emperor's bloodline to reclaim his former followers. Xiao Tian, still filled with suspicion, wondered to himself, was the ancestor of the Sui family truly only after my father-in-law? Could he have had designs on the Empress as well, perhaps even planning to use her to reach me? He kept that last thought to himself. Sui Fugi, however, firmly countered. That's impossible. When he targeted your father-in-law, the ancestor wasn't even aware of Ziruwan's existence. At that time, I believe her bloodline had yet to awaken. Still on guard, Xiao Tian pressed on. Could it be possible that such a formidable figure had the ability to foresee the future? Sui Fugi remained steadfast in his denial. He certainly doesn't possess such capabilities. Xiao Tian let out a sigh of relief, though a hint of disappointment lingered within him. So they weren't really after me? That seems odd. It's hard to wrap my head around it. Just as he grappled with these thoughts, Zhong Yangming and Long Zhou Dao behind him erupted into laughter. The old man is incredible. It's the first time I've seen anyone manage to stop Xiao Tian's spiraling paranoia. Shui Fugi was overcome with nostalgia. After all this time, Ziruwan had not only awakened the royal bloodline of the human race, but the strength of her lineage even surpassed that of her father, the esteemed Purple Emperor. Zhong Yangming nodded in agreement. Perhaps the Empress truly would restore the glory of the imperial court. If the spirit of the ancient emperor were watching, he would surely be filled with pride. Upon hearing this, Shuefulgui became agitated. What nonsense are you spouting about the Emperor having a spirit? The Emperor is still alive. His outburst left both Long Chudao and Zhong Yanming momentarily speechless, their faces reflecting sheer astonishment. However, it wasn't long before Xiao Tian and Zhong Yangming shifted their surprised gazes toward Sui Fugui. "Why are you both looking at me like that?" he asked, confusion etched on his face. Long Chudao asked defensively, "You've been working closely with the Emperor. Don't you know whether he's alive or not? Why does it seem like you're more surprised by the news of his survival than we are?" He waved his hands dismissively. "I knew the Emperor was alive. What surprises me is that the Shui family was aware of it." He approached Xiao Tian, attempting to win his favor. "Honestly, being by your side makes the Emperor's protection seem trivial," he said, trying to sound sincere. Xiao Tian shot him a disdainful glance. "If you truly understood that, why didn't you say anything? You never bothered to ask." Long Chudao retorted defensively. "Besides, whether the Emperor is alive or dead doesn't seem to concern you much." Xiao Tian, however, was unconvinced. As the forefather of the Empress, his significance loomed large. Perhaps the Emperor had foreseen my arrival, using his prophetic abilities to create the illusion of his death, all to catch me off guard. The determined look on Xiao Tian's face sent a wave of panic through Long Chudao. "Sir Xiao," he pleaded, "I assure you the Emperor has no ulterior motives." "You have to believe me," he said, clasping Xiao Tian's hand with a sincere expression, desperate to dispel any misguided thoughts. "After all, you're far more powerful than the Emperor. Please, spare him." Disgusted, Xiao Tian yanked his hand away. All right, I won't jump to conclusions. But do you know where the Emperor is now?" Long Chudao shook his head vigorously. "Sir Xiao, I've always remained within the Holy Dragon Relic, detached from worldly matters. I can sense that the Emperor is still alive, but I have no idea where he might be." Before he could finish, Shui Fulgui interjected. "The Emperor is in the upper realm." Both men exchanged surprised glances, their minds racing with the implications of this revelation. Shui Fugi was equally astonished. This elder from the Holy Dragon clan was actually close to the Emperor. What a revelation! But Xia Tian had only one thing on his mind. So, the Emperor is in the upper realm? Did he go there with his 3,000 wives? Shui Fugui could only shake his head in disbelief. Was this child's imagination always so wildly extravagant? Forget about the wives for now. With the Emperor in the upper realm, we have the opportunity to communicate directly with him. Once that connection is made, he can issue edicts to unify the scattered imperial forces here. However, our current communication with the upper realm is limited. If it weren't, we could rally all the imperial forces to stand against the impending disaster in the meteor flame battlefield. Sui Fugi let out a deep sigh. "What a pity," he murmured. "By the way, when Empress Shi departed, did she ask you to oversee the Great Flame Dynasty?" "Yes," came the reply. "Is there something you would like me to address? Can you reach out to the Primordial Demon Kingdom?" "Of course. You know the situation with Empress Luo. Our connection with the Primordial Demon Kingdom runs deep." Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian addressed everyone. "I've merged the mysterious Wealth Mountain range with the 100-Flower Domain. It will now be known as the Empress United Domain, or simply the Empress Domain. In the future, I plan to incorporate the Holy Demon Realm as well. The site for our second defensive line is quite strategic and not isolated. Once we combine these three domains, it will be a truly magnificent site." Zhong Yangming's eyes sparkled with anticipation at the thought. Combining the three domain worlds, especially at the second defensive line, would elevate the Empress domain to new heights. "Sir Xiao, you are truly," he began, but Xiao Tian continued. "By then, we'll undoubtedly have access to a wealth of unique and delicious ingredients. With your culinary skills, Zhong Yangming, you'll finally have the chance to showcase your talent." Zhang Yangming's emotions surged as he contemplated the formidable defensive line and its potential to support the Meteor Flame battlefield. He couldn't shake the feeling that all Xiao Tian cared about was food. When he learned that Xiao Tian intended to relocate the Holy Demon Realm to the enigmatic Wealth Mountain range, Zhang Yangming, accustomed to such unexpected twists, rubbed his forehead in exasperation. "I'll speak to the Primordial Demon Kingdom about this and make the necessary preparations for the fusion as soon as possible," Xiao Tian said, giving a thumbs up. "I'll just push the Holy Demon Realm over there, ensuring all the civilians stay in their homes and avoid coming out," Zhong Yangming replied, nodding confidently. "Don't worry, we have experience with this. I'll make sure everyone is informed," he added, a reassuring smile on his face. Fugui was bewildered. What are you all talking about? Am I too old to keep up? He paused, a thought striking him. Wait a minute. What do you mean by merging domain worlds? Xiao Tian shifted uncomfortably. Well, Grandpa, my bloodline is a bit unique. I can pull entire domain worlds and fuse them together. Zhui Fugui's eyes widened in astonishment. Such talent must be kept a secret. Revealing it could cost you your life. There exists a race known as the Psychic Clan, capable of transforming the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into top-grade spirit stones. The Shui family, along with other clans, has enslaved this race to exploit their abilities for spirit stone production. Xiao Tian was filled with rage at this injustice. Grandpa, that's not right. It's oppressive and deeply immoral, Sui Fugui said, shaking his head in frustration. True, but there's nothing we can do, his grandfather replied with a resigned sigh. Escaping from the Shui family is already a challenge in itself. Why should we concern ourselves with such trifles? As he listened, Xiao Tian's mind began to race, calculating their next move. If my in-laws are unhappy with the Shui family, my Empress wife will be unhappy. And if she's unhappy, my comfortable life will come to an end. Suddenly, everything clicked for Xiao Tian. The head of the Shui family was targeting him. He didn't want him to have an easy life. Noticing the anger on Xiao Tian's face, Long Chudao felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. Are we really back to this? Will Sir Zhao's paranoia ever cease? Zhang Yangming recognized that they couldn't go on like this. Empress Zerua Yuan is mobilizing troops to reinforce the Meteor Flame battlefield, and we need Sir Shaho here in the Holy Demon Realm. He can't simply dash off to the Shui family to debate morality. Both quickly intervened. Sir Xiao, let's remain calm. We still don't have the complete picture regarding the Shui family. Why not wait and see, one suggested. Exactly, Sir Xiao. They deserve at least one more chance, don't you think? Xiao Tian paused, considering their words. Fine, he finally conceded. I'll give them another chance. Once I speak with my in-laws and learn more about the Shui family, we can revisit this. Time will reveal the truth. Shui Fugui listened with pride. Little Xiao, you truly have a way with words, he remarked. Xiao Tian blushed slightly in response. However, Zhong Yangming suddenly interjected, Sir, where are we planning to make our move? The Holy Demon Realm, came the reply. What's the situation? The Holy Demon Emperor, Luo Tao Chan, has bound the Holy Demon Realm to himself using the Earthly Sovereign technique. The sooner we fuse the Holy Demon Realm with the Emperor's domain, the quicker we can enhance the Holy Demon Emperor's combat capabilities, Zhang Yangming explained. This will also have a significant impact on the Meteor Flame battlefield. Understood, replied Xiao Tianyang. I'll begin the preparations. Just give me a moment, Zhang Yangming said with a smirk. I need to eat, drink, and get some good sleep first. Zhang Yangming quickly bowed. Of course, Your Highness. This is my Xiao Tian. He then turned to Long Dao. As for the warships, ensure they're prepared. We can't expect me to fly there myself when we rush to the Void battlefield, can we? Sir Shaha, it's nearly ready. No need to worry, came the reassuring response. Long Dao reassured, noticing the astonishment on Shui Fugui's face. Xiao Tian quickly chimed in. Grandpa, please eat. Don't be shy. Shui Fugui felt a buzz in his head. How many more surprises does my son-in-law have in store for me? Grandpa, you really should eat before it gets cold, Xiao Tian urged. All right, Shui Fugui replied, quickly agreeing, but then a thought crossed his mind. Little Xiao, why not just call me Old Shui? Addressing me as Grandpa after just meeting feels a bit presumptuous, Sui Fugui said with a chuckle. Xiao Tian looked puzzled. How was that taking advantage? Sui Fugui laughed lightly. Well, if your real Grandpa heard that, he might get jealous. Xiao Tian shrugged. It doesn't matter. I don't even know who my biological grandfather is. Xiao Tian shrugged, leaving Shui Fugui momentarily stunned. How come? He asked, curiosity evident in his eyes. I was adopted, Xiao Tian replied, his tone turning somber. Before that, my parents were killed by my adoptive father. It seems they were completely erased from existence. There's nothing left to find about them. He paused, then added with a hint of warmth, I never had elders like you before. Calling you Grandpa feels nice. At least now, I finally have a grandfather. A smile broke across his face, revealing his bright white teeth. How does he manage to say all this with such a calm demeanor? Shui Fugui pondered. Rising from his seat, he approached a jar of wine and set it down in front of Xiao Tian. This wine is exceptional, the finest in the Ring Mountain realm. Little Xiao, would you care to share a few cups with your grandpa? Xiao Tian smiled in response. Of course, but you should know that the green flame wine is quite exceptional, Sui Fugui remarked, stroking his beard thoughtfully. This wine is truly unparalleled. I've struggled to find a jar like this since arriving in the Holy Demon Realm. Xiao Tian met Sui Fugui's gaze, a smirk playing on his lips. If you're interested, just come to me, but remember, it won't be free. You wouldn't want to take advantage of your junior, would you? Sui Fugu chuckled heartily. Little Xiao, if there's one thing your grandpa has in abundance, it's money. Meanwhile, at the Meteor Flame battlefield, countless cities line the defense line, each housing the Martial Spirit Army. In one of the core cities, further back from the front lines, a solitary figure stands atop the city wall, staring into the distance, deep in thought. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps echoes through the air. A figure rushes up to the city wall, urgency in their stride. News has arrived. Bai Qing is leading an army, and the quality of their void warships is exceptional. They will reach the city in just 2 days. The man on the wall stands tall and robust, his skin adorned with striking red and black markings that tell stories of battles past. He is a member of the Blood Surge clan, an elite faction that combines the close combat prowess of the Blood Rune clan with the curse abilities of the Blood Grudge clan. Together, they are known as the Three Bloodlines, forming a formidable force within the Martial Spirit Army, capable of leading numerous strategic initiatives. It appears that the intelligence network we painstakingly established is finally paying off. The man reflects on recent events. Following the explosion on the Vanguard battlefield, Holy Demon Emperor Luo Taoyuan has returned to the United Alliance of 100 tribes, now wielding power at the 20th level. He remains hidden behind the defensive lines, elusive and infuriating. Zhang Keiji clenches his fists, his voice low but resolute. Sir, given our hidden capabilities, we could launch a decisive strike and break through their defenses in one fell swoop. Why aren't we attacking? Zhang Keiji asks, his frustration palpable. Beside him, Shou Rui, the formidable warrior from the Blood Rune clan, shakes his head. We must be cautious. Have you forgotten who built these battlefield defenses back then? Zhang Keiji's expression hardens. Yes, they were constructed by a man whose power was both terrifying and unpredictable, the human emperor, purple, extreme invincible. In a distant void battlefield, the Martial Spirit Army had triumphed over numerous cities. Just as they celebrated their victories, they stumbled upon a startling revelation. The subterranean depths of the captured cities formed a network of array hops. This discovery ignited the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, unleashing massive upheaval and devastation. A wave of unease washed over us, raising the unsettling question, could this be a hidden mechanism left behind by the human emperor? Now that we have intelligence, the initiative on this battlefield lies with us. Upon hearing this, Zhang Keiji's eyes sharpened with understanding. Sir, do you already have a plan in mind? If the human emperor set any traps, they would undoubtedly be within those defenses. Our best strategy is to lure Luo Taoshan and his forces out from behind those walls, then seize the area in one swift move, Shuri explains, gesturing slightly. Zhang Keiji frowns. Sir, drawing Luo Taoshan out from behind his defenses may not be as simple as it once was. Zuri shakes his head gently. It's not that he refuses to come out. Rather, the temptation simply isn't strong enough. And the situation lacks sufficient chaos. A mysterious smile crosses his face as he speaks. We'll first send a portion of our forces, pretending they are the main army, to engage Luo Taochen in a stalemate. Once Bai Qing and their reinforcements arrive, we'll stage a retreat. By then, Lu Taoqian and his troops will be emboldened, sensing a chance to annihilate our main force. Would they truly resist such temptation and maintain their defenses? Once they break ranks and abandon their positions, we can strike without hesitation. This prospect sends a thrill through Zhang Keiji, who stands beside him, a grin spreading across his face as he clenches his fists in anticipation. At last, the moment has come for a full-scale attack. These scoundrels have reveled in their arrogance for far too long. It's time to demonstrate the true chasm that exists between us. I can hardly wait to witness the despair etched on their faces. The 3rd through the 10th armies will now move to their designated positions as outlined in the original plan, standing by for orders. Meanwhile, the siege equipment is being readied for transport to the battlefield. Zuri gazes out at the horizon, where a vast expanse of tents stretches across the landscape, forming a sprawling camp. Beside him, Zhang Keiji is equally charged with emotion. His eyes glisten with intensity, and his muscles tense with anticipation. Beyond the city defense line, within the massive encampment of the hidden martial army, the figures of the Martial Spirit Army are tightly clustered. Many raise their arms, roaring with fervor, eager to charge into battle and prove their mettle. Meanwhile, on the defense line of the Meteor Flame battlefield, Holy Demon Emperor Luo Taoyuan soared high into the sky. His spiritual energy surged within his eyes as he scanned the horizon. In an instant, he identified the enemy's concealed camp. Returning to the city wall, Luo Taoyuan's expression turned grave, a weight of concern settling over him. "What's wrong?" Luo Taoyuan clenched his fists involuntarily. "If it weren't for this mysterious surge of strength, I would have turned and run by now. The danger of this fight far exceeds our limits. I just hope Bai Jing's reinforcements arrive soon. Until then, we cannot afford to lose our defense line." Hearing her husband's tone, Wu Xingshu gritted her teeth, determination hardening in her gaze. "If we're truly outmatched, why not fall back to the second defense line? It's been well funded over the years," she suggested. But Luo Taoyuan interrupted her. "No. If we retreat, the entire region between the Meteor Flame battlefield and the second defense line will be devastated. And don't rely on those inept people at the second defense line." With that, Luo Taoyuan leans against the city wall, gazing into the distance. "As emperor, I will not allow them to advance even a single step." And with that, our story comes to an end. For now, if you enjoyed the recap, please leave a like and subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next recap.